Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Basic Entertainment. I'm here for a live spoiler talk, our finale of WandaVision. I cannot wait to talk about this show. And of course, I'm bringing back everyone. Have you guys seen in the past reviews? Starting with Mchat. Mchat, the guy from UK, the UK guy.
Hello.
The UK boys. Mchat, we haven't seen him in a while. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, that's it.
It's going to be
It's
real
nice to talk
interesting.
from WandaVision.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in the first episode, and I haven't got your take on it yet. So it's going to be real interesting how you progress from this. And also joining us was CV. CV, the famous, amazing Spider-Man fan. He hates Spider-Man Far From Home with a passion. He doesn't like MCU Spider-Man, notorious of being that. CV, how are you doing? You're mute. Your mic is muted.
Okay, there we go. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back. I think, when was it like? It's been like a good month since I was on here last. So appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it. I enjoyed the series.
Okay. Oh, going on with the thoughts already. AJ, the one who brings the hot takes, of course, doing his plug-in the background. What's up, AJ? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm AJ Reacts too. I react to movies, TV, music, gaming, and more. You see it right there. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into WandaVision and talk about it more. So yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love the self plug. I love that background. Ken, the one who has all the physical media in the world, the physical media enthusiastic collector, whatever you want to say, physical media. Ken, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you? Yeah, I like to call it the physical media enthusiast, aficionado, whatever you want to say. Yeah, I like physical media. I like buying Blu-rays. I like buying little discs in plastic case and putting them on a shelf to display to the world. So, yeah, thank you for having me back. I was here just last week. It feels like I was just here talking WandaVision, and now I'm back here again to talk the finale. So thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. And my co-host who's been running with me this entire series, the one who brings all the energy and all the theories that Disney said, nah, we're not going to do that. ShamoonReacts. What's up, Shamoon?
What's up, guys? Yeah, and thanks for doing me last, by the way. I mean, where's the love for your co-host, bro? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's really great to be back, of course, with this. And seeing everyone together now, talking about the finale, man, it's going to be super fun. And it's good to see some of you guys, because we obviously spoke about the odd episode. So, yeah, I'm super excited, man. Can't wait.
Can't wait either, man. So we're going to, of course, do our recap section of the stream. And let me go ahead and bring this up. Recap. Ewan, we haven't seen you in a while. Want to go ahead and recap for me?
I can't remember what happened.
It's been a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Just this episode.
I can't remember what happened. How did it start?
Dude.
I genuinely can't remember.
So it's from episode 8.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Wanda fights Agatha.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Vision fights White Vision, and they have a talk about the ship of Theseus or some theological thing. I don't know. And then Wanda becomes Scarlet Witch. She has a really cool costume, which I really like. Yeah. She opens the hex, and everyone starts dying. Well, not everyone starts dying. The kids start dying, and Vision starts dying. So then she shuts it again. Sword comes along, and what is his name? Director Hayward. I can't remember.
No one can.
Yeah,
no one
he is the hero of the show. Let's face it. I mean, he just wanted to save some people. But yeah, he was the hero until he decided to try and shoot a couple of kids. I don't know.
That was a crazy scene. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. And then Wanda steal. I completely forgot what happens.
The order.
there's CGI fight in the sky.
Yep.
And then
Pretty much.
Wanda used her rune magic thing and kind of baited Agatha, then stole her power back. And yeah, as I said, Scarlet Witch costume, really cool. And then everything's all fine, and everyone gets killed by the Hex being destroyed. Well, I say everyone, 3 people, Vision and the 2 kids. And then Wanda leaves. And then who knows what happens next? We'll have to see.
Really love. I think I got the tone from Ewan. Not seeing this episode 1. I got the tone what he thought on the show. So overall, man, we're gonna go from Ken all the way down to Ewan. Ken, what's your thoughts on episode 9?
It was okay. I liked it. I thought it was fine. I've liked this show quite a bit up until I would say the very end of episode 7. And then it just started treading into territory of like every other show I've ever seen before. Episode 8 was your standard exposition. Let's go back and tell everybody everything and explain everything to everybody and give all the backstory. And then the finale was the grand finale. There was some big epic events that happened. And I kind of just liked the intrigue of the first 3 episodes. I like the kind of setup for more awesome reveals in the 4, 5, and 6. That's my favorite run. And then it just kind of, I don't know, went into standard basic Marvel territory to me towards the end of episode 7, 8, and 9. And it kind of, I don't know, it was good. I think it's a good show. I think it's a good show overall. I left it feeling satisfied. But I don't think that episode 9 delivered like I was hoping it would. So I guess that's my thoughts.
I can feel you on that, Shamoon.
Okay, so when we started this series, I just want to say this first. Like, we were obviously really looking forward to big things because it's the entry to Phase 4 after all the hype. That whole year of literally no MCU content. So the first few episodes, it really did start in like what is this trash? I didn't like the first 2, but the finale, I did like the elements in the finale. I couldn't agree more with Ken though. The building on the 8th episode, exposition type episode, it goes straight into it. I do like that. The fight scenes are great, but I really feel that at times, things just kind of felt a bit underwhelming. Like you wanted a little bit more from a finale. I mean, as much as I enjoyed this episode for the fun parts, the Wanda's whole Scarlet Witch reveal, the Vision fight, even that scene, like Hayward trying to shoot her kids and Monica saving them. I feel like there was just a bunch of things that you were like, this kind of felt like a mid-season type finale rather than the finale. I do enjoy it though, but I feel like it was a bit underwhelming at times. I'm sure all of you can agree to an extent. But I don't like to feel too negative about a show, but I do like the ending. I feel like we did get some progression for the Wanda character, and that was the point of the show. So yeah, I think with that ending in mind, it was pretty cool.
CV.
I'm not gonna hold back. I thought the finale was pretty bad. That said, I did still enjoy it. Okay, I did find some things that I liked. Maybe like if you forget the context of the entire episode, if you just pick apart a couple of scenes, I can't say I didn't enjoy it. Show as a whole, though, I was really liking at the beginning. Towards the middle, kind of went off the rails a little bit. Episode 5, because of the whole Pietro thing, was like really cool. And then it kind of died down again until 8, which gave me hope for the finale. Finale kind of made me lose hope, but overall, it was. I liked it. I enjoyed the show.
AJ,
I'm really kind of on the same train as Certain. I was feeling the episodes week to week. I would say episode 1 through 7 were pretty good. And then when you got to episode 8, I actually loved that episode. That 10 out of 10 episode for me. It was where we kind of learned everything that we needed to know. And I do get where Ken is coming from, saying that it kind of goes back into the regular MCU feel, but we were kind of headed that way anyway. And I don't know, like episode 8 was just like the peak for me, and then episode 9, man, it wasn't good. It had some aspects that I liked, but it just was not good overall. It wasn't. I gotta be honest with myself.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it 100. I'm keeping it 100.
Gotta keep it. We gotta
Cold
keep it real.
take. No, just kidding.
Nah.
You went.
No, it's another hot take. Hot take.
What's your thoughts?
Okay, so based on my recap, I didn't sound very enthusiastic, but I do like this show. I think it's good. I don't think it's top tier MCU. I think it's mid, maybe even mid to low tier, just based on my personal ranking. And to be honest, films like Iron Man 2, I would probably rather watch than WandaVision, simply because I find them more enjoyable. But the first 2 episodes, as we talked about when I was on Spoiler Talk, it's not really my thing, but I could appreciate that it was doing something different. And then obviously moving into episode 3, 4, 5, etc. And that's when it started picking up. You started getting all the mystery and the intrigue and potential setup for stuff that wasn't really capitalized on. And it's not a case of fan theories not coming true, but a lot of the fan theories were way more satisfying and intriguing than what we actually got. And what it reminded me of is what J.J. Abrams tends to do with a lot of things. And it was, like with Force Awakens, it sets up lots of intriguing mysteries and questions, and then it just doesn't deliver on them. And it's just, it's kind of underwhelming. But as for the finale, it wasn't great. I think it was good in terms of wrapping up like the character arc of Wanda. I think it was good in terms of that. But everything else, it was pretty mediocre. Like the conclusion to characters such as Monica, Jimmy, Darcy, I don't want to say they were non-existent in this episode, but they were lacking. They weren't in it all that much.
Monica was
Hayward as well.
In it.
Yeah, Darcy wasn't even in it. She drove a truck.
One scene.
Darcy.
One scene.
Darcy and Jimmy were
One scene
like
that she just disappears.
Yeah.
So it was underwhelming, but not bad. It could have been so much more than it was, though.
Yeah.
But we move on to Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I'm way more excited for.
I agree.
The more I talk about the finale, the worse I feel about it.
I think we're gonna.
This crowd in here is a little bit tough. It's hard to say anything positive. It's not Game of Thrones finale bad.
Damn the lag. I'm losing you, boys.
Dang near.
Yeah, I think after this spoiler talk, we're gonna probably get a real good sense. I mean, it's already been a couple days from now from the spoiler, so I think we'll get a good sense of where we stand in the MCU and what's our grade. But overall, my take is, man, like I kind of said before, I appreciate this show for one aspect, maybe like 2 aspects, no, just one aspect. The character study of Wanda. I think they did an amazing job of building her character and establishing her as from a side piece to a main piece in the MCU. I can really take that from this show. I know we kind of talked about it, AJ, how episode 8 brings the idea, or not the idea of, brings pretty much her origin shown, and you kind of talk about how it was kind of said. I'm more of a show don't tell type of guy. I love to see her as a kid, her origins being exploded, and I think overall that episode for me was all I needed for this entire show, because what I needed, the real meaning of the show is just Wanda's grief and how she can get over Vision and all the events that have happened in previous MCU movies. It's not about Mephisto. It's not about Reed Richards. It's not about any of that. And I kind of said this after the first 2 episodes. MCU fans are spoiled.
Yeah,
we are very spoiled. And
oh, come on, we wanted so much more from the show. Like, it probably underwhelmed us mostly.
It's kind of like it's a lot of Endgame, Infinity War, because those are big events with big cameos and big Easter, stuff like that, the big moments. But also too, I blame Mandalorian a little bit. We came fresh out of Mandalorian, and Mandalorian had a bunch of cameos and pretty much you could call them cameos and appearances from major characters from the Star Wars
Mando
universe.
did it great. But
Mando did it great. But I feel like transitioning that from it was December when I ended to January was kind of like we were respecting the same energy. This is the MCU version of Disney Plus. This is not Star Wars. They clearly have 2 different directions, right? I feel like MCU Disney Plus is gonna be more about the characters. I don't think they're really trying to set up things in the Disney Plus series. You want to call these, right?
It's funny you say that, Matt.
Go for it.
I heard about I don't know if Feige actually said this. Again, it's one of them posts you just read, and I take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But apparently, he said that the series aren't meant to set up the movies, and if this is true, then the MCU, the Disney Plus shows, kind of are going to get undervalued because, yeah, you want character study, you want to know that, but you want that setup still. Like that whole notion of WandaVision tying into Doctor Strange makes you think, okay, what happens in this is going to really affect that movie. I was expecting things to really tie in even without the series, and it really makes the series have more interest because it's like after you see the films, oh, we got a series in between. All right, I'm going to watch it.
Right.
And
that's the only thing that actually had me interested in WandaVision.
Right.
The fact that it was going to tie into Doctor Strange. Like,
yeah,
it was probably maybe not quite my least anticipated show, but it was pretty low.
That's why we were hyped
about it.
Because I was
just like, how is this going to tie into Doctor Strange? How is this possibly going to tie into Spider-Man 3? And then when it doesn't, it's like, well, it's going to be kind of forgettable. I feel like down the road, once we've got a few more Disney Plus shows, there's not going to be the same hype around this series. It's just that we've not had Marvel content for a year and a half now. So it's just that hype around it. But once we've got Falcon and Winter Soldier, even maybe with Loki, I think people won't really care for this show.
I'm going to piggyback off what you're saying, Ewan. I think that when we get more of the Disney Plus series, we can take a step back and appreciate WandaVision a little bit more because it's kind of like a puzzle piece in these, TV shows. That's how I see it. Right now, I'm not loving how WandaVision did everything. Yes, I enjoyed the first few episodes. Really up until the finale, I was enjoying it a lot. But then, like, when we got to the finale, like, we saw that these characters didn't really matter that much. Like, these side characters.
More plot devices.
They were plot devices. I feel like, and I mentioned this in the spoiler talk that I did last week, that I feel like that this series was less of an event and more of a stepping stone for, future endeavors that MCU is taking. And that's just how I feel about it, man.
I just feel like we could do that though. Like we need to stop thinking about Endgames and like these type of events. Maybe we need to get little pieces like this, like WandaVision. We have so much more content coming out for the MCU this year. This is not do or die, right? This is fine when we come out like a side piece. Just my biggest problem with this show is the structure. And we want to talk about the structure. It's pretty messy. But let's get into some of these comments before we get in and really dive into this show. Luke Reviews, shout out to Luke Reviews for coming back. He came out with that great review. I saw that today, Luke. So what it do? Also, too, he come out and say, AJ, the man who wants to know the score. Yeah, if he wants to know that score, doesn't want to know a crazy, nice, good quote, but he just wants to know the score. Talking Cobra Kai, what's up, kid? How you doing? Of course, what's up? You get one of.
Hello there.
I think I don't know if it was the first time we saw. I think Ewan, that's the first time you saw that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you started adding all this stuff halfway through the.
So whenever someone says "What's up," I give them a hello there. So the structure of the show is it's a mess. I think it's a mess. I think first of all, I keep on saying it since day one. 3 episodes shouldn't have been the release, and I think I heard today the director Max Shackman came out and said. Our plans was to come out with 3 episodes, but they weren't done with episode 9 yet. I think they were still shooting it. And the reason why
I think they were would have been a couple of weeks behind or something.
Right. And
basically they said that they wouldn't be able to get the finale out in time.
They weren't able to get the finale out on time. And that's why we didn't see Darcy, because that was a reshoot. A lot of stuff in episode 9 was a reshoot. And it is kind of whack thinking about that. He's like, pretty much, yeah. And he even brought up the whole boner thing. He brought that up and he kind of compared it to Mander. But what's your thoughts on that, CV? What's your thoughts on this Ralph Boner guy?
Oh, Ralph Boner. That's my favorite moment in the entirety of the MCU. That is
not just the episode, the entire MCU.
That's a wrap.
It's just unbelievable. That moment is I have no words for it. But yeah, you were talking about the structure. I think the big problem was that they did not give themselves enough time to unravel everything they had set up. I don't think they were aware how much they had set up, because like I'm going through all the episodes right before the finale. I'm like, there's like a good 10 major questions that we need answers to. I did not get an answer on most of them. Not very many. I got an answer on them. I think they, first of all, they kept play too close. You know, they were keeping it under an hour. They had to have gone over an hour at least by episode 7. I would say by episode 7, you need to start pushing the hour mark, and they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
So that would have given them some more time. I don't know how much it would have benefited them, but it would have benefited them more than, you know, it would have been better than what we got. The director was talking about how they didn't have enough time. This episode felt rushed, and you can tell that. It felt like a completely different. It did not feel like the same show to me. It felt like a completely different writer. It felt like, because up until then, you know, there was some things that weren't making sense, but for the most part, especially episode 8, like it was written really well, and it just feels like, I don't know, he just stopped caring for some reason. Like whoever the writer is, he just didn't really care about anything anymore. He was just done with life by this episode. So I don't know.
It felt like Zack Snyder directed that Vision fight, though. I know that.
Oh, like more of a Man of Steel. Yeah, I need
Straight
to,
out of Man of Steel with him and Zack.
True.
But it was so dull though. Like it was bland and boring. Like I don't know why. It just wasn't. It wasn't like, I think I'll put more respect on Snyder because two guys, two powerful beings punching each other and going far away. It could be boring, but the way how Snyder directed that, talking about that real quick, was more exciting than Matt Shackman to this point. His directing in this episode 9, that scene is the action was just bland. It wasn't. It wasn't
it felt really like Ken was saying at the beginning. You know, this episode especially felt really, really generic. Just like, you know, you started this series really creative, right? You were doing some really creative things. And then by the end, it just feels like your normal MCU movie, which there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But when you compare it to what you already had, then it feels like a step down. Like there's like a lot of cool things you could have done. Like there's like the show Legion, that's known for doing really creative things with interesting concepts. And this was feeling like Legion towards the beginning. So there's a lot of things you could have done.
It was just so unique and ambitious, like with those first few episodes. And I was like legitimately excited to get back to every single episode every week after. And then it was just something about that end of episode 7 with that Agatha reveal. And I was just like, oh, okay. It's pretty much what everybody has been saying the whole time. So that's really the direction we're going in, is the basic direction that everybody's been speculating on the entire time. And I was hoping they would walk it back a little bit in episode 8, and they kind of do. But it still just ended up in the same bland, generic spot. And this is coming from somebody that I didn't think the finale was that bad. I enjoyed a lot about it. But it still feels more basic than what it could have been. I don't know.
I think something that could have helped the series is if we had more stakes, higher stakes with Agatha. We didn't really even get her full plan. We don't really know why she wants this chaos magic. She just wants it. And
we didn't even know where the hell she came from.
We don't know where she came from.
Already in the town? Like where did
she's been running around and nobody's paid attention to her. There's this witch. We'll just let her. It's fine. It's fine.
The question that we've all been looking for is, why did Agatha go there in the first place? Like to you know, like you said, the power. She wanted the power. All right, great. You wanted to be more powerful, but what are you going to do?
What are you doing with the power? What? And we didn't ever.
Here's the thing, right?
Oh, there's a chapter about the Scarlet Witch in the Darkhold. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. What do you want? What do you want? Tell me, Agatha.
Here's the thing with. Here's the thing with Agatha, right? Her plan doesn't really make sense to me, because if she wants her magic, that's what the hex is being powered by. You have no reason to reveal yourself to Wanda, really. You can kind of just operate, like, you know, behind her back. You know, you can use the hex. You can use anything that Wanda's really powering. You can really use that to get your magic. So that's one thing. With Vision. Like, you can use Vision. You can use I was on a podcast yesterday. We spent like 6 hours just going through this episode. Nothing was making sense, by the way. So, the point is brought up, right? In episode 3, right? Wanda rewinds on Vision, meaning she has the ability to rewind the narrative within the hex, and that completely screws over the stakes.
Yep.
She could have done that in episode 9 if that's the case. They're still in the hex.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's the
She
point.
was losing control, though. I think that was the point.
Yeah.
She was losing control.
I agree with AJ, because if
She
Could have done it
expanded
in
it.
episode 7.
Yeah,
Could have done that at the end of episode 7, and then gone and killed Agatha before she revealed herself.
I feel like at that point she had already expanded the hex, right?
So once she's under the layer, she can't use her powers anymore because of the runes.
True.
But above it, if she's powering the hex, she can rewind the hex.
And how does she know about the runes? Like, she knows about them, but she doesn't know how to like use them, or like what the symbols mean, or like is it just in her consciousness already, or
learn
what?
it when that episode. I think it was the start of episode 8. When like, after episode 7, they reveal Agatha, has been this witch all along and stuff.
And she's in the basement.
8, then she says something to her, which kind of Wanda kind of does a reverse Uno on her in the finale.
Yeah, she does, but she doesn't learn it.
So
She just knows
ruins
of it.
anywhere. Can you?
That
She
would
just
have made
summons
sense
them in
to
the
me.
clouds.
That's how I want to
Exactly.
know that. Yes,
Like,
You can see. Okay, so here's the thing: the runes broken. Just don't question it. But in that episode, you see at the beginning, right? I went through the episode, by the way, right? You see the 2 runes, not the same 2 runes. You see around the layer, you see other runes, not the same runes. I don't know how Wanda knows about the runes she used, but she just knows about them for some reason. She just knows about them for some reason.
So,
Are you guys talking about? Oh, you want to go ahead? Go for it, Mchat.
I didn't say anything. I think that was Shamoon.
Oh, okay.
no, I was just going to say, do you reckon they've left it open, like the fact they didn't explain that? Or do you think that's just lazy writing, as Ron Reynolds would say?
I think it's lazy writing.
That's lazy. That's lazy writing.
It felt like lazy writing.
Unless they
because
go back to it at
I
some
don't
point.
feel like they're going to go back to that.
Matt, you said about the MCU cheat code. They might be doing that again.
It's the MCU cheat code. They're not gonna stop doing that MCU cheat code thing. You kind of want to talk about? Are you guys talking about how she created the hex? Because I have a theory.
No.
The runes.
The runes at the end that she uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explains
So
that.
Agatha can't use her. So Agatha couldn't use her powers in the hex.
But she didn't even know what the runes were before.
I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying.
because she did tell her about the runes, but she didn't learn about how to use them.
And even
she
if
just knows that they exist.
Well, you just assumed
Right.
that she didn't know about the ruins.
It's
She might
the-
already knew about them.
You can.
Why
you
is that not explained? That's got to
And
be
then Agatha
explained.
didn't know
though.
that she was.
Hold on. I got
that's
one
another
thing
problem
to
with the show.
Yeah.
It's the most generic and played out thing in all Hollywood. It's the emotion, your full emotion, and then boom, power. You get what I'm saying? It's that Dark Phoenix stuff. It's that
basically.
I lost someone. Oh, someone died. Now I'm mad and I'm my powers are out of control. Boom, something like that. It was shown in the episode where she kind of felt emotional, which is still a great episode, but that was very kind of like generic Hollywood.
You know what? I feel like the thing though, that concept, the reason why I like that, when she loses that control, she does become more powerful in that way. They've been doing that ever since Age of Ultron. Remember when she knew that Pietro died? She killed all those like Ultron bots around her.
Yeah,
And
That was
then-
a sick scene. I love
Yeah,
that scene.
exactly. And again, that's like, it
was very reminiscent of that.
More and more power. And then now we're here, bang, is Scarlet Witch, because she just had enough and she took Agatha's power. And I think that unlocked the Scarlet Witch, which is obviously a pretty mad scene.
That's a really good point, CV.
That's a
You
good
just
point.
kind of broke my. I acknowledge how all of a sudden she's just an expert.
No, that's something I don't get.
The
by the way.
expert.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
I
And
don't
I'm
get
kidding.
that.
Chaos magic.
It's the
Can be
chaos
anything.
magic.
Wanda just built
I mean, you can try to explain it away, Ken, but I don't think. I don't think.
Ken, explain
point,
though.
Pure
I want to
chaos.
hear what Ken says
Yes,
about it.
it's chaos. Yes, it sure
Wanda's
is.
just
Just like the show.
About herself. She just built different. That's all it is.
She built
Chaos
different.
magic.
Yourself, though.
I don't know about that.
Can somebody
So,
Can somebody explain me? I don't want this to sound ignorant, but can somebody explain to me that whole scene where she kind of like gets into Agatha's mind and she's back in the
Do you remember in Age of
Coven?
Ultron? She did that to Tony.
Yeah.
And then
She
Tony
did. I
saw-
do remember that.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically
yeah.
that power again. She was trying to trick. I think she was trying to like use the, like play on her mind, and then obviously she showed her the Salem 7-witch trial, and then
Right.
it kind of backfired because they
Right,
were
but
trying
I
to go
don't
for.
understand what her goal was with that.
I think she was just trying to like spook her. Like that's how I feel. I think she was trying to make her vulnerable. Like show how how like Wanda's been feeling. She's trying to do that to Agatha because Agatha's clearly vulnerable.
The
Like,
thing with that though, right, is the thing that didn't make sense to me is Wanda says the difference between you and me is you did this on purpose, but Wanda did the hex kind of on purpose. Like she could have stopped the hex, but she was continuing the hex. She was living her reality, so it's kind of the same.
it wasn't fully on
being-
purpose though, because remember they showed how she lost.
No,
she
I know
brought Vision
that.
back and everything.
I know
Yeah.
that. But she could have collapsed that. Once she realizes what she's doing, she can't collapse the hex, but she realizes that she can live out her perfect world. So she's technically still controlling the hex. She's doing all of that.
And all those people that are also involved in that.
It's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
True.
So
It's
She
kind of-
didn't make a
She's
conscious
the
effort
villain.
to stop it.
yeah.
She's
exactly.
the villain of the show. As I said, she's the villain of the show. Dread Haywood's the hero. That's just how it is.
See,
I don't think there is a
Haywood
hero.
is not
I
the
don't know
hero.
if it's
I don't think there is a
He's
hero.
not a
I don't
hero.
think
Well,
there is a
he's
hero.
trying to
Monica.
He was
That's the
trying to save
closest you're gonna
everyone
get.
I would say
That's
maybe
that's how-
everyone inside though.
Jimmy Woo.
maybe Vision. I don't know. The Vision's like the
No, no, no.
closest thing
I
to the
mean, but
hero.
Vision's not.
Pietro
even
is the
real.
hero. He's the freaking hero.
The
Yeah,
face.
so Ralph Boner.
Pietro's
Ralph Boner
not
is the
even
hero.
real.
Ralph Boner's the hero.
That's something we gotta talk about, man. The Pietro stuff. I'm hella pissed that they just made that. He was a normal guy called Ralph. Like,
I wanna
come on,
get,
son.
Very
I want
disappointing.
to get Ken and Ewan's first thoughts on this.
Boner.
I needed to get him thoughts on that. Ken, I know you were talking about how you're very upset about the whole multiverse of how they kind of went back on it,
Yeah.
backtrack. But
Yeah,
Ewan,
we found out about that he wasn't real last week, right? Like that wasn't something new this week. We already knew he was a nobody after episode 8. So yeah, I mean it's I don't know how everybody was acting. Like you remember at the end of episode 5 when everybody was just flipping out about this Evan Peters reveal, and it was like the X-Men's coming to the Marvel universe, and that it just
Multiverse.
I don't know. I feel like it was a little bit too much to make that be fake. Kind of like I don't know if it's like a slap in the face because it wasn't like it was just one character, but to get everybody excited like that and to just turn around and turn him into a character called Ralph Boner. I mean, I don't know. And
That's a
episode
slap
5
in
is
the
my
face.
favorite. Episode 5 is
That's
my
a song.
favorite because not just for the Evan Peters reveal at the end, but I just thought it was a great episode. I love the fight that Vision and Wanda have in the living room. And then that Evan Peters reveal at the end was just kind of like the cherry on top. So, so it kind of
I agree.
makes me like that episode a little bit less, which would kind of in turn make me like the series a little bit less.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world. They could still bring the X-Men in or whatever, but it felt like a really cool moment that they just diminished.
It's like a missed
for no
opportunity.
reason. It just there wasn't
Again,
really
another
any
missed
reason to it. Like, why
opportunity.
couldn't he be the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe? It just I don't know.
And why would they use Evan Peters? That's what's killing me.
They
Why
were
would they
just
use
trying-
Evan
But the
Peters?
thing is,
It
if
was
they-
strictly just to get everybody talking and speculating.
And that
And-
makes me lose respect.
And that feels manipulative.
That's so manipulative. And
But the
then
thing
like the
is-
slap in the face with that whole joke, that just makes me like the finale
if-
less.
If I could
And I would
said
hope
that,
go back on it and he would be like at the end, just be like, reveal himself to be the real Quicksilver and that he was a part of, he wasn't a part of it or he was just undercover or whatever, working with Agatha undercover and he was actually the Quicksilver.
And that would just be too messy though.
Bad
It
Right,
would be too messy, but it was like, I always hope that they can recover from their mistakes and most of the time they don't.
They don't.
Shamoon?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Boner?
I just think the stuff like if you're gonna bring Evan Peters back, I just think it's
Make him Quicksilver. Why not?
yeah.
Why not?
But the thing is,
Why
do you think
not?
that they would if they brought him back as Quicksilver and didn't explain it, would that annoy you more, or would you just be like, no, it's great, he's Quicksilver still? So
I would
mean,
assume
like-
that it would get explained down the line.
because then then they could then be open to that idea, multiverse. How did he get him? Why did Agatha choose this version? And why does he look like the Evan Peters Quicksilver?
just-
And where did he come from?
It's just a red herring for the audience. That's all.
He's just a completely new character. That's what they're
It
basically
just
saying.
seems so
with
out of
Ralph
character
Boner.
for Marvel to do something like this. Like they do cool
True.
shit all the time that ends up
Well,
being
they-
real.
Facts,
To be
yeah.
like if
It's
Spider-Man
not-
debuted in
That's
Civil
true.
War and they were like, "Oh, it's not the real Spider-Man. It's not Peter
Right,
Parker."
right.
Yeah,
Like,
that
Kind
would
of
have been
did it
such
with
a
Mandarin.
smack in the face. Yeah.
They kind of did it with Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Like that's the closest thing. They just
Yeah,
like,
but Mandarin
that's
wasn't
true.
as it's not an equivalent, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's
They
the
kinda
closest
did it a
thing.
little
It's
bit.
the-
That's probably the
And
And
closest
even
thing.
then, and
Yeah.
even then, right? I still prefer the Mandarin thing because, like, you're still getting, even back then in Iron Man 3, after the one shot released, you knew the real Mandarin is still out there, and now you know he's coming back in Shang-Chi. This is just a dead end. There's nowhere to go with this. He's Ralph Boner. He's not Pietro.
He's not gonna be anybody else.
No, so Evan Peters is done. Evan Peters is done, so you can't really go anywhere with this. So I would say this is way more disappointing.
AJ, thoughts on Boner?
Yeah, I don't like it, man. I didn't,
it's a funny name.
I feel like
I'll give him that.
It's hard to make it. It's hard to like find like humor in it when it's just such a big slap in the face for this, like, I don't know, writing choice that they went with. But yeah, I didn't think. I was just like, really,
Yeah, why? Why
I was
would
like,
you do this?
this is exactly what I did. Really. Like, really, like I chuckled twice and said, really? And
you should have did a reaction video of that.
I probably should have. I should have, but it was just like, come on, man, give us something better than this.
Yeah.
The
thing I have is people like online saying like, why did you expect Evan Peters to be Quicksilver? It's like this. Everything
because that's what they set up. Because that's what they set up.
Who wouldn't think it?
You bring Evan Peters back in a show about Wanda, who is, of course, the brother of Quicksilver. Evan Peters played Quicksilver in the X-Men films. Multiverse of Madness is, we're going to lead into that from WandaVision. Multiverse, that's the key thing. They have the rights to X-Men, the Fox X-Men. Everything points to it. All the signs were there.
Did you guys just did whoever's saying that this is not what they were building towards? Did you just forget the fact that when he showed up, everybody started clapping in the show?
Yes.
Did you forget about how they treated that moment? Like that's what they were building towards. That's what they were building.
Yeah,
towards.
Come on, they were definitely were.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Before I get my thoughts on the epic and famous, of course, get to some of these comments.
I'm annoyed seeing that.
Look, reviews. Jimmy Woo is a hero.
Jimmy Woo is great. He was great in the series. Him and Darcy actually got some justice, but not a lot on Darcy still.
Had it been established before that he was so good at getting out of handcuffs? Had that been established?
Well,
he got out of handcuffs quick.
It was like magic. He practiced magic.
Okay, okay. So there's precedent for that.
The way you wanna, I don't know if you add on this CV. There's a store agent standing right in front of him when he got the phone. He just like this. I'm like, can you not see? He's in handcuffs. Of course, he's gonna.
That guy. There's that guy. And then there's another guy next to him. So there's two guys.
There's two agents.
There's two agents looking at him.
Introduction to the MCU so far has been good, but let me get to some of these comments first. Talking Cobra Kai, I'm not surprised the MCU made a joke out of Evan Peters. Endgame was full of unfunny jokes, in my opinion. The MCU humor lately seems to fall flat most of the time.
I mean, Endgame had some funny moments. I wouldn't say the jokes were unfunny.
You're talking about the Hulk taco moment? You must be specifically talking about the Hulk taco moment.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think Endgame was hit or miss. Lately, in terms of lately though, I would say at the beginning, WandaVision was hilarious. They were killing it. But
I don't know about that.
When they get to
I didn't get the humor. Me and Matt didn't like the humor at first. We were kind of like,
I love the humor. I grew up on sitcom. I grew up on sitcom humor, so maybe that's just me. But I thought they were killing it with the humor. But lately, obviously, the boner thing, it's just MCU.
They did such a great job at just recreating all of those sitcoms. Like those are exactly the feel.
The production was
replicated the feels of those episodes of those TV shows with the characters in the MCU. I just thought they did an incredible job all the way through.
Yeah,
I agree. Completely.
They did a great job. Yep.
Yeah, even with the Malcolm in the Middle thing.
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle.
Now
the Office,
the Modern Family one. I don't know if I felt.
There's a little bit of Arrested Development in there too.
Yeah, and I love those shows. Don't get me wrong, I love those shows, but I don't know if they captured it as well as they did with the 50s and the 60s sitcoms.
There was less about the sitcom in that episode. I feel.
That's
true. I feel like they were drifting off.
Yeah, they were going more into typical MCU stuff, and obviously it's getting towards the end of the show then, so you have to.
They were drifting off because it was less of an importance. Like you weren't watching WandaVision for what's the next sitcom like after this? Although
I was still
80s
watching
and
it for that
90s.
every episode.
The 80s and 90s.
Same,
I think
same,
that's why I kind of tapered off a little bit with 8 and 9 because they stopped doing that. I love the episode shtick though.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was kind of digging the sitcoms. I wasn't digging the sitcoms itself because I just feel like they were so limited. It was more of sitcom jokes and then boom, a cliffhanger at the end. I feel like that was kind of cheap throughout the episodes. And maybe that's why I don't really like the first couple episodes the most. But I was kind of like, ooh, what sitcom they're going to do next? Or what intro? How they're going to mix these sitcoms? There's so many iconic sitcoms. How they're going to mix it together? And I think they did a pretty good job of doing that. But
I think
it comes to personal taste, I feel like, because CV talked about how, he grew up with the sitcoms, and I think AJ talked about how he really liked the first 2 episodes because of the sitcoms. I think it came from personal taste. Me, myself, not a big sitcom guy, so it's more miss. But Shamoon?
The thing is, I do like sitcoms. I grew up with them too, but I think it might have just been the era specifically. I wasn't really.
That's true. Yeah,
that's
true.
why. That's the reason why I didn't get the jokes. But when it was going to the 80s and stuff, I started to like it and find it more funny. But yeah, I feel like they really drifted off that stuff because by that point you want to start thinking more about what's going on in present time. But the production and the way they brought out those shows, like massive props to the guys for getting that captured in that same way, because they definitely made it feel like it was that same generation, that same feel for each decade. So fair play to them for that.
Right.
Here's the only gripe I have with the sitcom thing is that by episode 8, they give you a reason for why the sitcoms were there. Which it works. It works, right? Makes sense. Wanda, that's her perfect world and everything. By episode 9, though, she's back in the Hex, but the sitcoms stop, and there's really no reason for them to stop. Is the thing. Like, when she goes under the layer, right? That makes sense because that's not her world anymore. That's the layer. That's that's outside the Hex. When she goes back up, though, technically, according to what we know in the show, the sitcoms should technically still be going. So, based off of that, it makes the sitcoms feel like a little gimmicky because it's like up until that point, you knew why they were there and they were part of the narrative. But after that, it feels like because that's the thing with episode 9. It just kind of backtracks the whole show almost.
Was that lazy writing again though? Because
that's the thing. Because think of it this way, right?
To that.
Because I was talking about this yesterday, right? Imagine a final episode or a bunch of final battles where they're going through the decades and the sets keep on constantly changing.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Think about that, right? That's something creative. That's something really unique they could have done, right? But again, like we were saying, it's really generic, right? And part of that is because the sitcoms just kind of stopped, and I don't think there's any reason for why they should have really stopped.
I mean, I would say this to that, and it's kind of a reach, it's kind of loose because it wasn't ever really explained. But I would say because all this happened out of her consciousness, she was not conscious of this, but once she became aware that what she was doing completely, she went back and really tapped into those memories. That's when it stopped, when she was more conscious of what was happening. So that's what I took from it. That's why I figured that it stopped.
It would have been a lot smarter if they kept it going, though. It would have been better writing if they found a way to incorporate into the show.
What would they have done with the final episode with the sitcoms, though?
A warping, going backwards.
Well, they could have slowed it down because they really started speeding up. They jumped into the office.
True, yeah.
That's true. And Malcolm in the Middle was early 2000s. They tried to play it off as it was 90s, which it might have debuted in the early 90s.
You know what? They tried to merge
those
90s.
They merged those two.
It was
they merged the
80s,
80s, so they could have walked it back a bit and went a little bit slower.
They could have gone slower with it. They could have done a thing where because she's found out that Agatha is in this reality she's created, her whole world is toppling on her or something like that, and because of that, all the decades are merging. You could explain it that way. There's
you could have done the Mysterio Far From Home thing. You could do something like that even. You could do something like that even. Because this is not a real reality, so you can change it up however you want. Maybe those changes would stick. That is true. But you can change it around in any way you really want to. Because I'm pretty sure by the end,
it's like night in the hex, but it's daytime outside. So it really, anything can really happen inside.
Right.
So you can
I
have
think
done
that's
a lot of things.
I got you, and I feel like that would have probably worked a lot better. But that's where my head is at with it. Like once she became conscious of what was happening, it stopped.
So here's there's the thing with that is like, yes, she's not conscious when she's creating. Well, I mean, she is conscious, but like she's not aware what she's doing because like her grief is pouring out of her. But after that, she keeps it going because she realizes, like, because of her grief, she's created this perfect reality because that's what the sitcoms were to her. This was like the version of life that she thought, she would have, or like she wanted, basically, right? And she creates that. So, that makes sense, right? She'd keep the sitcoms going. But once everything with Agatha happens, I don't see any reason for her to stop doing that because that's still her perfect reality. And so now the sitcoms are like just this secondary thing, this superficial element that was just added, and it just seems a little gimmicky, to me.
Yeah.
His face there.
What's your thoughts on these sitcoms? Do you feel like, because I'm kind of getting the sense, I was like coming like maybe like episode 4 or no episode 3, I was kind of like, maybe the sitcom stuff is just a gimmick. But Ewan, what's your thoughts on the sitcoms and the whole?
I mean, it was interesting how they recreated it, but it got to a point where I just thought, this is just, I'm tired of the sitcom stuff. I want to get into, breaking down all this stuff, what's actually happening, all the mystery stuff. Give us some answers. And you could have kept the sitcom stuff going in the background, that's fine. But actually do some stuff that's plot heavy and answer some of these questions that you've set up, like the missing person from the FBI. That's never answered.
Right. You're talking about the beekeeper?
That's true.
No. There's
a missing person.
Yeah, they have like a board with
yes,
everyone.
I got one per thing.
And there's a missing person thing, and that's the whole reason why Jimmy was there in the first place. But that was never answered.
I have one huge thing that was unanswered too. Where's the children? For the children, what was all that about?
As far as the Halloween episode?
No. Where were the children?
No. The Westview, like when they were like gathering, they're like, remember, this is for the children.
And then Vision even brought it up in episode 6. Why is the children only here today in Halloween? Was it just for Halloween, or was
there a theory that they were all locked under town or something?
Like I think what
experiencing
it was
Wanda's
grief.
I don't
Vision,
know.
Like in the episode before, in the episode before, episode 5, when Vision said, where are all the children? Why are there no children here? So Wanda took that into mind and probably, stole children.
Yeah,
but I
which is even more messed up for Wanda as a character.
It is. It really is.
But I think,
does anybody?
Dorothy, what's it? Dottie, is that her name?
Dottie, yeah.
Yeah. She said in episode 9 that
her daughter.
That her daughter was locked in the room. So presumably they just had all the kids locked up to start with because they really
all the kids were like
in 50s sitcoms.
It was really weak. That was really weak writing.
We could have saw.
Yeah, I think
it was.
What I never got answered. What was the deal with the two people in every commercial? I thought that was going to go somewhere.
Yeah,
because it was the same people in every commercial.
Oh yeah. We always people in the commercial. Parents, but then obviously flashback.
They're not parents. I thought it was the parents, but it's not the parents. Yeah, so I don't know where that went.
Oh no.
Right. I just feel like this show it could have been deeper. Like we could have gotten little moments of seeing the kids in locked up. A little bit more of, because I did enjoy this
episode. It would have been really dark.
Yeah. Well, I would kind of want it to be just a bit, darker side. But I just kind of wanted, like, episode 9 brought up the idea of kind of like when they start getting back their conscience, and they're like, Kitty said this one line. She was like, "Oh, if you're gonna trap us, just kill us." And I was like, "Damn, that's deep." We could have got more of that, more of like the Norm stuff in episode 5.
Does anybody feel like she didn't show enough empathy when they were all released, as far as like what she did to all of them?
Yes.
Yeah. I think do you feel that her grief was necessarily warranted? Because I don't think that the movies did a good enough job of really establishing Wanda and Vision's relationship to the level where I thought it was right that she did all this stuff to these people over her grief of losing Vision. I mean, they just didn't do enough to establish those two. What were they together for? Like a year? And you're gonna trap an
Something
entire
like that,
town
yeah.
because you want your robot lover back? It's a very thin
Hey,
motivation.
he's an android.
And that was my entire
Zoid,
problem with the show overall.
Oh my god, it was very rushed. I think we kind of established that. I think it was episode 8. It was more of going off of their performances to believe it, because I didn't believe it even at the end.
And
Man,
they did a lot to make me buy into it with those first few episodes. Like I was more invested in WandaVision as characters and their relationship than I had ever been before this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
would
think
have
that's
hit more
agreed
harder.
across the board.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It just would have hit more harder if they wouldn't have took their time with this relationship. But overall, it's just kind of pretty bland, pretty mediocre. Sweet Dreams are not made of this. No, they're not. Man, it would have been so cool having Evan Peters in that final. We were kind of talking about the whole, even like that Monica and Evan Peters.
Who am I to disagree?
That flick, by the way, that did make me laugh.
That interaction.
You know what
You know what would have been perfect? You know when Hayward shoots the kids? If time slowed down, then Evan Peters comes in as Quicksilver and catches the bullets. That would have been cool.
Oh, that would have been.
Or you know,
imagine he does again.
But does he even have
You know what I would have
his
preferred?
powers? Does he even have
No,
powers?
no, 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 no.
Like,
He has the necklace. That's what gives him powers.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right?
If they would have actually gone the length of doing Evan Peters, Fox X-Men, Quicksilver, then they could have pulled like a music, slow down time, classic X-Men, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse stuff.
Here's the thing with here's another missed opportunity. I think if you were going to do the Ralph Boner thing, you could have done, because Speed has the same powers as Quicksilver, so have him do like a nice slow-mo moment as like a reference to what Evan Peters did. That could have been a neat thing, but he's just running like normal Quicksilver. And
then they use that with Monica, and then I like the way Wiccan uses his power to get that bullet, because obviously there's one that Monica can get. That was cool. But yeah, the other brothers just left. They're like, "What am I gonna do? Just stand here while you guys be all like look really cool in that?"
He just does this big blur thing, like Aaron Taylor Johnson, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's really bland, and it's just really like this compared to something like episode 1. It just feels so lacking of creation and just lacking of.
It was a bit ironic because this whole show is supposed to show and display creativity within the MCU and being diverse.
Exactly.
And all this. Yet it didn't capitalize on the fact it could have been creative. That's why I was a bit disappointed.
By the end, it didn't. Yeah.
4K Corner. I think this is the first time in the channel.
Hey,
Welcome
4K.
to the Basic Entertainment family. Laughing. I think he's laughing about someone like
Boner.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna stop doing it. I know that triggers some of you guys. I'll be honest. I gotta get back to that topic of I'm kind of in the minority of I didn't care. I just didn't care about the whole multiverse of Evan Peters being that Quicksilver coming into the MCU, because I kind of want the MCU in. That will open up the floodgates of having the idea of bringing in the X-Men, Fox X-Men into the MCU as our X-Men. You get what I'm saying? But I just didn't care too much. But I just feel like it would have been more interesting if they wouldn't have gone that route. Because it just wouldn't have been like it just sets up. It's just too perfect of a setup to have Evan Peters. It makes sense. Its layout is there. Doctor Strange, No Way Home. It's there. It just doesn't go.
And it got everybody in the mindset of thinking they were going to get McAvoy and Fassbender. And
oh my
everybody, Jennifer Lawrence and all those people. And is that really what you want, or do you want something new and different?
Oh my god!
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I think about the multiverse thing? I agree that they probably should not have done the thing where the multiverse is open and they can grab from Fox's roster.
Yeah, that's lazy.
Initially, I don't think they should have done that, because then that begs the question. Okay, well, like let's for sake of argument, let's say Agatha just grabbed that version of Quicksilver. Well, that means there's a person running around with multiversal capabilities, and they're not priority number 1 for anybody. So that kind of messes things up with the world building. But once you hint towards Evan Peters, I think that's where I draw the line, because you were building towards that, and that's where the disappointment factor comes in. Like once you build towards that, then you have to deliver. And they didn't deliver on that. So while I do think it's good they didn't do the thing with that version of X-Men, while I do think they didn't open up the multiverse yet, because it's better if Wanda does that. Just the two situations, one is clearly better. If you're building towards Evan Peters, just do Evan Peters. Just do Pietro.
Just do Evan Peters. Just do the multiverse. Why not? Like, why is it?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes with the MCU, they're so there for those type of crazy storytelling, right? They're like the story concepts and stuff. But we always need to push back just because, this is for family. We need to throw in Darcy hitting someone with a truck and saying some cheesy line. You know what I'm saying? There's always that with the MCU, is that they have potential to be what we want. You get me? But they're trying to reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
I don't like
a wider audience needs a boner joke.
Can I tell you what annoys me about this whole thing about them trying to appeal to casuals?
Yeah.
So as much as it's cool, like they want more people to feel like they can be a part of watching this, why are they trying to like prioritize casuals when they don't know a single fuck of what's going on? Like we are like the fans that are really breaking it down, looking into it. And they're not giving us the service; they're giving the service to these junkies that come in to see a film, and they just go.
Only 1% of the audience.
I mean, you know what I mean. No offense to some of you casuals, but you're getting too much service when there's people who've been fans for so long. Like, there's people who don't even freaking know who the Thanos is. They're just like, big purple guy. They don't even know him fully, and I just hate the fact, like, we're like sitting here really wanting to, we're really wanting to know. We want to see all these like theories and stuff. Like, none of this happened. Like, you remember all the Mephisto stuff? Like, everyone was thinking Evan Peters is Mephisto.
Yep.
Who is this Ralph? Who's Agatha's husband? And
CV
they didn't capitalize.
Yeah,
I feel like there's too much service for casuals. They just kind of prioritizing them now rather than the people who've been in.
Of course, no offense to the casuals. I think you're more talking about the guys who just suck up everything. Eat up everything.
Yes,
90% to Far From Home. No way in hell Far From Home deserves a 90% around Tim. I think we can all agree on that.
You're on another planet.
Ken does. Ken does. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's some movies like Captain Marvel give it $1 billion. Ant-Man and Wasp 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Who cares? It's Marvel. Mickey Mouse is putting in some greasing up their pockets and stuff, but
it's the mouse, man. It's the
Ken
mouse.
is a real one because he's telling it how it is. He doesn't.
Well,
really,
you gotta think about what Rotten Tomatoes is. It's not saying it's an A- when it gets a 90%. It's just saying that 90% of the critics who watched it enjoyed it. Which, like most of the Marvel films, you can all agree that they're enjoyable to one degree or another. So, if I'm reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I did, I would give it a positive score. So if 80% of the critics are like that, then that's why it has like an.
Thing is, though, I think some of these critics are under the roll. I mean, some of them are kind of getting paid to put out certain reviews. I feel there's some sort of truth to that. I mean, I'm not one of them crazy people.
I don't know if it's necessarily getting paid, but they're like want to get invited back to the next Marvel party.
Very true.
Yeah, that might be
definitely. Yeah, they don't want to criticize too much.
The
mouse care too much about the job.
Mouse sees all, right? The mouse sees everything surrounding us. He might buy our channels and make us a pure MCU mouse, advertiser, Disney Plus, and all that.
Please do.
Yeah,
I am totally open to that. I will sell my channel. If you would
be like, okay,
I would.
MCU, they come out. Let's say this, right? CertainVids, No Way Home is just a Far From Home. It's just another version of Far From Home. You can't stand it. But the mouse and Sony are hitting up your door. CERN. They give you this amount of money to say this is a great movie. Will you do it?
Nah, CV. This is CV.
That's a hard choice right there.
He's thinking hard too.
Anything you want in the world.
No, stay true.
No Way Home is a great movie.
Okay.
Anything he wants, so he can ask for a good Spider-Man trilogy then.
Okay, that's true. But I would, if I'm like a popular critic, right? I would not take them up on that offer, because if there are people who think of me as a critic and they're expecting me to review movies, I'm not going to do that. If I just have to say to some people that it's a good movie, sure, give me money, I'll do that. But as from a professional standpoint, I would not do that.
Okay,
would not
so
do
you
that from a
you're
official
supposed to be
standpoint.
represent. Okay.
Yeah.
So you won't do that a review on your channel and be like, yeah, A plus.
If they want to like give me money to like just spread the word a little bit, like sure, I'll do that.
Commercial. Yeah.
But like just just word of
they-
mouth.
If
Just
they
get word
promise
of mouth
you
out there.
they promise you a third Amazing Spider-Man movie, you would say, "Yeah, please give me the
Oh.
opportunity, like straight up."
I might. That's
Oh,
a little
man.
debatable. That's up
Oh,
in the
man.
That's
air.
a non-negotiable, bro.
We could talk about that. Yeah. I'm the only one that is kind of tired of the time travel manipulation, not only with Marvel but across the industry as a
Yeah, I
whole.
think it's great. I mean,
Um,
Endgame just
Trying to do
introduced
something
it.
different.
Yeah, it's a little bit
Yeah.
different. I think the time travel stuff is gonna get kind of. I mean, you got the Snyder cut that's gonna deal with some time travel. So I don't know. It just honestly depends how you do it because sometimes I kind of want my consequences, and I feel like Endgame had a lack of consequences doing the time travel stuff. In a way,
Well,
I
I
don't know how you
don't know
guys feel
about
about that.
Nah.
I
little-
agree to disagree because think about it. The Loki thing, he's got his own show, and there's a big
Yes.
consequence there. They effed up. Remember, if it wasn't for the particle, the Pym's particles, they would have been effed. That's
It's
a
very
consequence.
convenient. That was very convenient, the Pim's particles thing.
Right.
But yeah, I do get where you're coming from, Shamoon. I think there were consequences, and Thanos almost caught up to him again. So
Exactly.
there were some stakes there.
Bro,
There definitely
dropped
was
that
some,
line.
and
said,
he had the gauntlet in his hand.
he said, and where did that bring you? Back to me.
Back
he
to me.
completely,
Yeah.
He
So-
got the winner.
So
No,
I feel like that's where the time travel did it right.
And the
Right.
consequence, I mean, dude, Iron Man died. He died trying to stop Thanos. That's a huge freaking consequence. You got
Black Widow
one of the-
died trying to
and
get one of the
Widow,
stones
Widow
as
as
well.
well.
I think
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
more about like Captain America seeing a different Captain America. I would have preferred a butterfly effect, if you get what I'm saying.
I feel like they left that
But
open.
that would have been too kind of because we only know one concept of time travel, and that's don't step on a beetle, don't step on a bug, or something's gonna happen. You know, like the Back to the Future stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
you know
No, I get you
that's
there.
a whole
I
different
get you there.
conversation.
It
I
is.
still agree.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about
Would have been a
that for
different
hours.
movie if
If we
Captain
move back
America
to, like,
was looking
the-
through a
if we
spoiler almanac.
Yeah.
If we move back to like the original question about the time travel / manipulation getting tiresome and everything, if you do something different, like with Tenet, for example, obviously did something very unique with like
That was crazy.
the whole concept of like time manipulation. So if you do things like that, I don't think it could ever get boring if you do
Yeah.
interesting things.
Yeah. Too bad Tenet didn't really have like a good plot. But anyways,
I agree.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm with you 4K corner. It's like they don't have an explanation for something that they just say.
Well, I don't
it's
think they
was time
just.
travel.
I don't know.
It's a massive rabbit hole as time travel.
Yeah.
You're always going to run
Always
into
gonna be a
some
big
sort of
deal.
issues. some
There's always
sort
going to
of
be
plot
some
hole.
issues. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to really know what you're doing if you want to get into time
Yeah.
travel.
You got
You have to
the
either
writing's,
keep
the
it.
writing's got to be tight. Got to be
You
really.
either
tight.
have to keep the time travel condensed, or you have to just be really good at your job if you want to
Yeah.
tackle time travel. Because
Yeah.
that
And the
gets
stakes
that gets
have to
icky.
be high if you want that effect of time travel, like you guys were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
4K exactly. So this is an endgame conversation now. No
Yeah,
problem with
it
that.
is.
The usage
It's
in
really
endgame
got
was cool, but it came across to me like they needed to fill the story. Same with it, chapter 2. The
I
scenes
disagree.
when they finished Back to Childhood could have been deleted.
I've
Oh
not seen
wait,
it,
that I don't feel
so
like that's.
I cannot comment on that.
I don't think that's time travel though. That's just kind of flashback.
That's just
Flashback.
flashback. Yeah.
How could that's different. Showing a flashback is not time travel. Time travel is like
Yeah.
the actual
Going back
concept
in
of
time.
thing
But
going
I
back
will
in
say-
time, like,
I will say
Yeah,
that it
this is
chapter
different.
2 didn't do great with the flashbacks and just the storytelling. It definitely didn't do as well as the first.
I haven't seen it.
the first
so
chapter.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
a
haven't
bit
seen it
sloppy.
either. I haven't seen it either.
yeah. The second one
Um,
is a lot more sloppy than the first one.
Yeah. But we gotta talk about what else we need to talk about, right? Monica, right? What's your thoughts coming out of here with Monica? Starting with
I'm glad
Cam.
they set her up. They've done a.
Back
I
to
think
you,
they
Ewan.
did well with her in a few ways. Like, I like the fact. Well, first of all, she is. I said this to you from the start. She is way more likable than Carol. They've already established that like 5 minutes.
You sure
into
about
her
that?
appearance.
You sure
I
about
like
that?
Monica way more.
Somebody who would disagree.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Hey, there's someone out there.
He has that one just for you.
That's why
He had that one just for you.
Yeah, but personally, I think Monica has been really enjoyable. But what do you think, AJ?
Oh no, I think Monica is a more likable character than Carol, but I think we have to learn more about her. And I think they set her up pretty well. But just her presence in the finale was so lackluster.
It was
and like,
so bad,
and then like when you think about the finale, you think about the whole series and like how she affected the whole series, and it's like, was she that important? She was, but also the finale, she wasn't, effective in the finale. So,
What was
it kind of
here's my
felt like
question, right?
another, like I said earlier, it kind of felt like more of a stepping stone.
Right.
Why? I don't think why was she in the show other than to set up her character?
That's
for
what I'm
the
saying.
future?
That's what I'm saying.
That is the only reason.
That's the only, and that's almost. I kind of feel like that's what this entire show was, just setting up for the future. Like it felt like the Scarlet Witch's origin around a lot of fluff.
I think that's the best way I can explain this show.
It was quite a lot of fluff.
But there was some
very
fluff that I enjoyed though. Like Ken said,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
episodes with the production and the set and the costume wardrobes were awesome. But ultimately, it was kind of fluff.
It's pretty fluffy.
After the finale, I would say yes. After the finale, I would say yes.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't have said that if it was just episode 8. If we hadn't seen episode 9 yet, I wouldn't have said that. But
it was a nice
up until
side story.
Up until that point, I was thinking it was like a great character study. That just kind of goes down.
I still feel like the character arc was done pretty well. So I'm not gonna bag on it completely because I did enjoy Scarlet Witch's arc from pretty much her lowest point to the most powerful point she's ever been. So I will give it that.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like internally, like her as a character, like Ken was saying, like she wasn't really that empathetic towards the end, stuff like that. So I don't know if they really paid that off well, but it was cool to see her become the Scarlet Witch.
But she is going to be in future projects, so we do have more of her, just not of this show.
Right.
So I kind of got to look at it like that too.
Like as of now, right, within the show, I would consider it a problem, but they could go back on that later. So it's just a matter of once we have more context to go off of. So
true.
Can we talk about Elizabeth Olsen's performance? In my opinion, is
she was
fantastic,
she was
and I think that her performance is probably up there with
that.
Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans as far as like just best MCU performances. I think this is like top 3.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else that tops her.
Maybe better.
Maybe better.
I agree. It was a fantastic performance all the way through.
It was so good, and Paul Bettany,
especially episode 8.
He was so underrated.
Episode 8, especially, she was so good.
I don't think it's the strongest episode, but her performance was definitely fantastic. I do agree with that.
I just want to quickly touch on one thing about what you were saying about Wanda's empathy. See, the thing is, she said this thing to Monica, like, what if I am the villain? I feel like they were kind of just showing you this darker side to her. Like, she didn't even think about those kids, and she was kind of neglecting things, but she was trying to stay happy at the same time. And she was even tested to the point where she had to choose her family or the people of Westview, and she actually didn't destroy Westview. So there's kind of some parts of that where she's actually, still a good person, but then the Scarlet Witch stuff is kind of, she's got this darker side to her with this power. Because remember, Agatha was like, you don't know what you've unleashed. Maybe this is almost like the Scarlet Witch and Wanda are so opposing that, like, maybe if one takes over the other, then there's obviously you're going to have one. It's almost like, Hulk and Banner, like when Hulk's fully transformed, Banner's got, he can't be necessarily good or bad, but when they formed together, then there was more subconscious. But with Monica, I mean not Monica, with Wanda, with this situation, I feel like the Scarlet Witch, that side is like very dark. So we
see that at the end, right? Like she can like separate the Scarlet Witch,
astral
from
form,
Wanda.
astral form, like Doctor Strange, and then the music starts playing.
Yep, astral form.
Yeah.
Yep.
We get it. Ewan, your thoughts on Monica?
I think she's fine. I don't love her as a character. Like a lot of people are hyping her up as like one of the best new MCU characters. like this is the first time we've seen it, so I'm willing.
I
to
don't
say
think
that
I would say one of the
down
best.
the
I mean,
line-
we just kind of got introduced to her. Like,
No,
I
but
wasn't.
like
Barely.
people making out she's like the best character in the show. I think is probably more the case. But yeah, I think she's a fine character. I think down the road she could potentially be really good, but she's just there. Like she doesn't really have like a strong personality. I don't think.
I do feel like they kind of
a unique personality. She doesn't bring that like unique presence to the show or anything.
I do feel like they set up some good things internally with her character about having kind of resentment against Carol Danvers. I really want to see.
I think going into Captain Marvel too.
That's going to be interesting.
Really
where can they go from that will be super interesting because that's going to be a really conflicting episode. Right. I mean, episode on movie if they kind of go that route. But I just feel like her photon powers are kind of in this show.
I remember you saying this. They're
kind of cool. I mean, it's cool. There's Zor against her. I guess she probably has like generic superhero powers. Flights, super strength.
She can see energy. I think.
Yeah, she can see energy.
It's energy, and that's how she pointed out the necklace with Boner. But the way how it was, like the CGI to me was kind of cheesy. When she goes in and saves the kid, I thought it was a little cheesy. It looked kind of.
That felt very like.
It felt, dude. Now I think about it. This episode was very rushed, and now it's all making sense because Shackman came out and said, the director, we reshot a majority of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
well,
it felt like that. It makes a lot of sense.
It's starting to make sense.
I think that was
now.
the last episode to shoot, and I think that's like COVID hit, and then they had to, obviously halt production and everything, and that was the last episode they had to shoot, or like half of the episode or something.
Oh, something we didn't touch on. So I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently Doctor Strange was supposed to show up as a cameo in this, but they cut it out because I think this links to what Fiege was apparently saying, that they didn't want to make, set up too much in the series. But I don't know if that's like, again, but I can't say that's like legit what he said because I just read it on a post.
But don't you guys feel like the biggest problem with the MCU is that they sometimes become too much of a commercial and they don't really focus they don't have an eternal story, you know what I'm saying? They don't have like a more self-contained story. This is kind of that. What's your thoughts on that, Ken?
I feel like it don't.
Hold on. You
go back.
What'd you say?
No, I was just going to say that it was an internal story, so I feel like Doctor Strange showing up at the end, it doesn't take anything away from what the rest of the show was.
Right.
So I don't see that's a problem.
Right. Ken?
Yeah, you're going to have to repeat. What'd you say? I didn't hear what you said.
Do you feel like the biggest, or you could say the biggest problem of the MCU is that sometimes they feel too much like a commercial, setting up too much of the next movie, and not having more self-contained stories? Do you feel like WandaVision was more self-contained or commercial?
I feel like that's kind of the charm of the MCU, and that's kind of the uniqueness of it. And they've kind of kicked off this whole kind of connected universe thing that's been super fun. So would I like to see more contained stories? Sure. I mean, it would be nice if they had a couple every now and then. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty contained. And Ant-Man and stuff like that. But they always seem to eventually fold into each other anyway. And I think that's, Infinity War is probably my favorite MCU movie. That and Winter Soldier is probably neck and neck. And that was just combining all of these like unique stories into each other. So I think it's the charm of the MCU, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that being a charm, but I know there's some critics out there who says that's the biggest flaw. They do too much setting up. If anything, it comes down to how they do it, right? End credits, setting up stuff for the end credits, that's fine because that's what the end credits are for. They're setting up for the next movie.
And maybe they need to do more stuff like DC does. Maybe they need to, not be like DC, of course, they're not super successful, but like how DC's like does the Joker. It's like a standalone movie. It doesn't connect to nothing. And then they have the DCEU. So maybe Marvel just needs like
not MCU,
some standalone movies that have nothing to do with the MCU.
If they did like a
and that would make people happy.
That'd be quite interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
That kind of was the Fox X-Men movies for a while. They were more contained, of course, not being in the same universe. They didn't have the rights for it, but I don't see the MCU doing. And they're never gonna do a self-contained, Joker-like movie. But they can have. It honestly just comes down to the director.
I mean, they did
like Thanos dancing down the stairs.
They did. They did Venom. I know that's Sony, but
Sony,
also Marvel.
Without Spider-Man,
I think. I think the closest you really have to a self-contained story is probably the first Iron Man, I would say, because that's like the start of everything. So there's really not really anything to connect to. And maybe that's why it's so good.
Like
minus the end credit scene.
Right. So like
Talking
you have
about-
some setup, but just the
Okay.
movie itself without the credits, there's really nothing to connect to. Maybe there's Easter eggs here and there. I can't remember if it's that one or Iron Man 2, but I'm pretty sure Cap's shield is in one of those movies.
Iron Man
Yeah, it was
That's Iron
in
Man
Hulk. Incredible Hulk.
Say Iron Man 2.
I feel like Incredible
It's an Iron
Hulk
Man
was
2.
was kind of self-contained as well.
That was self-contained. So
The
those
earlier
two are really
ones.
the only ones.
But I
Those are
feel
really
like
the only
even
ones.
like
True.
the newer ones, like the James Gunn's movies, like Guardians 2 feels pretty self-contained. Like it
Guardians
feels
2.
contained-
That's true.
It feels
Guardians
contained
1.
in the Guardians universe, if that makes sense. Because
Right.
there was never credits leading towards the Infinity Stone. It was more about what the old Guardians, Sylvester Stallone and all of them. It's all contained in the Guardians.
I want to see that movie.
that'll be pretty cool.
Guardians 1 has like the Power Stone and stuff, so that's
But it
sort
fit
of
into the
connected.
story. Yeah.
They actually
But two-
go back to that exact moment in Endgame. So
Yeah.
Right.
which
Two,
but
though.
before Endgame it would have been more self-contained.
2 though, I think 2 is like pretty much it's like I sometimes forget that's part of the universe and that maybe that's why I love it so much, but
Yeah.
I think 2 is just perfect. It just feels like those two movies, maybe one not as much, but those two movies feel like you were saying, like a James Gunn universe. Like that's just his stuff and he's just like completely detached from everything else. And he makes it work.
And it's a good thing. And also too, you can have like your you throw in stuff that's gonna come in future movies. Just do it tastefully, right? Don't do it sloppy.
Subtly.
Don't do it, stuff like that. But yeah,
The
talking
thing is,
Cobra Kai.
Some things work better when they're connected. Like look at Thor Ragnarok, that's so connected. Like you got Hulk in it, you got all these other characters that worked very well in itself. And in a way, it was self-contained. It didn't have certain other characters, but of course, it's its own thing. Thor's trying to figure out the whole situation, but some films just do better self-contained. Like Guardians will work so well on its own. So sometimes it's hard to work with certain characters because they need that connection. But then sometimes, the self-containment with some of these films is just how it should be for them.
Yeah. Talking Cobra Kai. Is the government looking for Wanda because they definitely should be? She had a whole town on held hostage.
Well,
she-
I mean, the
Presumably.
FBI finally got involved when Jimmy
Yeah.
Woo said, "How about if my friends from Quantico find out?" He was joking with
There
Hayward,
was-
and he's like, "You're bluffing."
There's
So-
no consequences when it came to Wanda. I mean, she kind of went. She did a Hulk. She went out of the country, went to the mountains.
Yeah,
all
she
by
kind of
herself.
just left.
Yeah.
She kind of just
Yeah.
left.
There's not much that they could have done there. Let's face it. Like, you'd need to bring in someone superpowered to try and properly stop her.
Right.
True.
Because she's
We need
way
to know
more
the time
powerful than
frame
most
as well.
Guardians.
Like all of this taking place. Okay, it took place 9 days after Endgame. I think you were saying earlier on.
So
yeah.
this
It happened
has
very
been going
quickly.
on for 9 days. I think this is 3 weeks after Endgame, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. 3
Yeah,
weeks.
I think they mentioned that like in the finale or something like that.
So essentially,
And then
it
this
ends
whole
it
thing-
ends a month after Endgame. By the end of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And then I think it's been like a week in episode 4. So it's like 9-ish days, I want to say. The total time span in the series.
I would presume that the
Yep,
final
I'm-
end credit scene with Wanda is like months after this. You would
I would
assume
assume,
it's
yeah.
like
I
pretty
would assume.
far.
I wish
past.
they would've-
Like
I wish
a
they
little
would have
bit.
specified that, like how much time had passed. Yeah,
They also probably should have pointed out at the end, like Wanda Maximoff will return in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
yeah. They usually
Well,
do
they
that.
don't need
Right,
to,
they
because
usually
they
do that.
announced
So
that
I
at
didn't have
Comic-Con.
Mm.
Exactly.
Or WandaVision
Unless it shows
returning.
up in unless
Yeah,
it shows
right.
up in Spider-Man 3 and they don't want to spoil it. So
Or
I
Wanda,
know what you mean though, because they did that with like Thanos. Thanos will return in. I think it's
Yeah.
at the end of Infinity
Yeah.
War. I was
I
like,
think,
why didn't
um,
they?
They did
Thor
that.
that's
Ragnarok
cool,
as well. They said Thor and Loki will return in Avengers Infinity War or something like that.
They did that for Civil War. They said Spider-Man will return.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And yeah,
So
they do it all the time.
they do it all
Yeah.
the time.
and also too, I saw the leak. Wanda Maximoff will return to Spider-Man Homeworlds, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's probably
Whole
why
world.
they didn't put it at the end.
Yeah. So shout out to the leakers, man. Always reliable. So Monica powers are that she can turn to jelly when needed. Yeah, pretty much.
Turns
It's
to jelly.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it's her powers are gonna. I mean, that's the only uniqueness of her powers. I'm guessing, of course, like I said, she's gonna have the same type of abilities like Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, in a way, maybe. So yeah, that's a good way to
just
put
reading
it.
the next comment.
Oh man, Luke reviews. I think what episode was it? It was 6. Or I forgot 7. Al Pacino as Mephisto.
That
was
not
a
a bad.
crazy
That is a
theory.
good casting.
We got to talk about the theories of
Yeah,
fans.
I actually had some faith in that. Like,
Yeah.
that would be huge, but yeah, no big cameo. So what can I say?
No big cameo. Al
I
Pacino.
think-
I want the
really,
exact
really
same
hyped that
performance
out,
as
like-
him in The Devil's Advocate. That
I was
exact
gonna
same
bring that up.
performance.
That's
I
why I
would
think
say-
you made that, right, Matt? You
Yeah.
said about why you thought it was Al Pacino, and there's another reason as well why you mentioned that.
Didn't
I
he meet
think-
with Marvel like 5 years ago, and that's why people were saying it?
I
Something
think
like that.
it was because Paul Bettany has
Yeah.
Someone he didn't
expressed
work with.
Yeah, it was that.
he's expressed that Al Pacino and Robert De Niro were like his favorite actors growing up. I think that's why everybody pointed towards Al Pacino. And then his previous roles is probably something to do with it. I think what happened is that Paul Bettany, I don't know how, but this is just my theory, that he just didn't realize, because this is like his first time like at the forefront as like a lead of something in the MCU. He didn't realize that everything he says is going to be blown out of proportion. So he was like,
Analyzed.
he was trolling. He was trolling.
Every word, every syllable, tone,
Every breath.
right.
Bettany is the biggest troll. Like,
With the
that's one thing I
cameo-
learned.
With the cameo, yeah.
It's a good
me.
troll. I like
say
the
that.
troll. I like the troll, but
people
I
were
just don't
more-
think he realized
Yeah,
I didn't.
that people would not like this. That the MCU fandom is very trigger sensitive. So I didn't think he. I don't think he realized that.
But I made it that point out. I mean, I got that right that Paul Bettany was the secret cameo. I did
You
call
did.
that out because it was just too kind of obvious, right? But I made that kind of connection.
You mean
with
it
Al
wasn't
Pacino
that
before.
random scroll that popped up at the end? That wasn't the Luke
That was the Luke
Skywalker level
Skywalker
moment?
level cameo.
imagine.
Yeah. Not
It could have
nowhere
been
near.
Luke Skywalker as a scroll.
I kind of have a theory why, because it wasn't Paul, it was everyone else. You got Elizabeth Olsen, you got Sarah Paris. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right,
Yeah,
but they're
Yeah,
kind of
he capped so hard on that. You guys,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you guys think. Like,
Yep.
What was that about?
I think they're just like. I don't think. I think she should have specified, because I don't think she specified when. So I'm guessing that's just like a Captain Marvel 2 thing or something like that.
Or did
But
she
I said
mean
it
like,
during WandaVision that was kind of throwing off. But I kind of have a theory
Yeah.
why they were doing this. All the actors, the 3 main stars, you want to say, maybe they were trying to get us to watch the show each week. This is
Well, yeah,
such-
that's the-
this
yeah,
is
maybe.
such a-
that's just
this
yeah, but
is such a
Maybe
that's
new.
just an obvious
Nolan.
thing, though. But at the same time,
Right.
we're obviously going to tune in to see, but don't say these things that are like going to get us too hyped, because then if it doesn't happen, then we're going to be like, oh, we didn't like the series because you guys lied about this. Or
I mean, they don't care. You watched it.
The thing
Yeah.
is, though, what if
yeah,
he's,
but the
like,
point, but the point is like. That just shows you got no value for your fans. Then you're just like gonna throw bullshit out there and not really care. Like,
Now I'm not buying it on Blu-ray. I'll tell you that much.
well, I
still
don't
gotta-
know. I
You
don't know.
already watched it. You already subscribed.
But
I don't know.
I
That's
just,
I'm just saying generally. I think. I mean, obviously, there's ways of getting annoyed out of it, but I just think, yeah, don't say something and it doesn't happen because you're obviously going to expect it. But I was going to watch it regardless. But don't just create extra hype. You know, like
Yeah.
that's my point. Is if you create a hype, don't overhype it when there's no hype there and intended. Like there was hype anyway for the show, but why say
yeah,
it's
people are
be a
going to
secret
watch
cameo
it.
and it's not?
Like, it's
people are
it's
gonna watch it
Marvel.
regardless.
People are going to watch it. You
I'm a
don't
big
need to do
oh,
it.
anyway, so I will watch it. But these
Yeah.
methods don't really work, like for me personally. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I mean, I completely get that, but I just feel like they don't care that much.
Well,
Right.
clearly, yeah.
And I just want to talk about, of course, the fans who are mad that their theories are wrong. I feel like you guys are real selfish. I don't like that at all. That you guys are super mad at the creators for not delivering what you want. I think it's maybe, of course, the boner that was distasteful for Marvel. I can see why people are mad about that.
Yeah.
A very low moment in the MCU, one of the lowest moments, I would say. But don't get mad just because your theories weren't right. This show was never
True.
about in their eyes, this show was never about Mephisto. It was never about Evan Peters, Quicksilver. It was more about Wanda's character story and her heart.
Self-contained story, right?
Honestly,
Don't
honestly,
get
I
mad at
feel
the
like
bunny not being Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange
Yeah.
popping up, that still wouldn't have been fine, but
that wouldn't have been a surprise cameo. I think a lot of people were at least expecting that.
yeah.
But like I think you're right, Matt, about the thing like with all of us fans, we wanted so much more from this show. But I think it's only natural to feel that way because you got all this hype going into phase 4. Like they know that we're
They
gonna feel
hyped
this
it up
hype
as well. Like they hyped some of this
They
stuff.
did.
They teased this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
They
look
do.
at the Pietro stuff as well.
Pietro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
that's
their
why-
own
Evan
trolls.
Peters, it's like it's
This
not
is a
wrong
joke
to
there.
assume that Evan Peters is playing Quicksilver in a show about Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. They're gonna bring him in and be like, no fan theories.
Ralph Bono.
Like,
yeah,
Right.
it's not far fetched at all.
no, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
But it's,
so we can't feel that like we can't. As a fan, you're gonna get
But
annoyed.
there's evidence there for the Evan Peters thing, but like Mephisto, there wasn't
Yeah.
really direct
There wasn't.
evidence. But the fact that
that
we
was
had
just a
the
big theory.
twins, the fact that we had Billy and Tommy, who are so heavily tied to Mephisto in the comics,
Yeah, and it's cool.
it's not wrong to kind of theorize that. It's a legitimate theory, and
Yeah.
it's not like far out there. But saying like Reed Richards is going to show up, like it's not.
That
there's not
I
really
think the
anything
Reed
there.
Richards thing was too far, but I love the fact that
Yeah.
a lot of people thought Dottie was Mephisto. Like straight off the bat,
yeah,
I
they were
read some
hyping up
dumb
Dottie
theories.
too. What was that
Dottie's
about?
been there one time, and then we saw her like the second time, and then
Yeah, in the
it's
finale.
clearly- it's
The
just-
people thinking
exactly.
the Beekeeper's Mephisto as well, or Doctor
Oh.
Strange or something. Like,
Or Sparky.
no,
You know?
Sparky.
Sparky's Mephisto.
God,
Or
yeah.
the Fly.
No,
They
it's
were
the
really
Fly.
hyping up Dottie,
It was the
remember
Fly
that?
guys.
They were. They were.
They were. They said episode 3. I think the Dottie actress herself said, "Oh, keep an eye on her." She only popped up twice
Yeah.
in the remaining of the
Bro,
series.
shut the hell up! No one
She
cares.
said,
Yeah.
keep an eye on her.
Yeah,
Are you
Everyone thought
serious?
she was playing. Everyone thought she was playing Clea or something.
that's
From
what.
Doctor
Yeah.
Oh
Strange.
my gosh.
Did like the actress just like watch a different show?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
That's like the
They got a
commercial
different
lady
cut.
going, "Oh, wait
They
till
got
the
a
next
different
commercial. It's gonna
cut.
blow your
They
mind."
only had her on set for like 30 minutes. She
Yeah.
almost
Mate,
didn't have any
bro,
screen
not
time
even
hardly.
5.
Yeah, honestly.
What if loads of stuff comes out behind the scenes that like so much was changed, and it's like a Zack Snyder's Justice League situation? So get Matt Shackman's WandaVision in the future.
Actually,
Let's just cut.
release
Like
the
15
Shackman
episodes
Release Shackman cut.
instead of 9.
15 1-hour episodes.
15
Yeah.
1-hour
Oh,
episodes
my
instead of 9 half-hour
What-
episodes.
What's your
And
thoughts on that?
Mephisto's in it. Doctor Strange is in it.
What's- Yeah,
Reed Richards is in it. Everyone's in it.
Hey.
Toby's in it. Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman.
Toby was the biggest one. 'cause
Al Pacino.
Spider-Man, oh.
Yeah. Ken, what's your thoughts on these fan theories? Because I know you're more of a kind of sit back and watch it as a film critiquer. What's your thoughts on the fan theories? You saw all the madness going on. I was like, yeah, you guys are having fun over there. You're in it
It's
for a
just
rude
extra noise, and to me, it's like I come into these
Yeah.
just wanting good stories and them to deliver cinematically. I want good performances, and yeah, it's the MCU as a whole is delivered. I'm a big fan of the MCU,
Yeah.
and I think that overall this show started off super strong, and then it just kind of tapered off. I don't really follow all the theories, but I think that if you really get too entrenched in the whole theory aspect of it, it will lead to you enjoying the show less. Especially
Yeah,
if you get on a bunch of streams like we're doing right now and listen to a bunch of people talk for 3 to 4 hours every single week about all the cool shit that could be happening. And you get to the actual show, and the show will never be as cool as what 1,000 different people were talking it up to be.
Yeah.
Hey, I
So
feel
it's
that
just impossible to live up to that.
I feel
Right.
that because, I feel like you're going to kind of be disappointed either way because you talked about what might happen. And if it happens, like, oh, I called that
you're
and
like,
I already know,
Exactly.
and then if
that's
it
why I
doesn't
said like
happen,
the
you're-
whole Catherine Hahn thing just was disappointing because like that's
Yeah.
what everybody's been saying was going to happen, and it went down exactly how they said it was going to go down.
I mean,
So I was like, really? Okay.
I know,
That's
but
cool.
we're the fans. That's what we're going to do. We're going to
There's no
talk about it. We're
win-win.
going to
Exactly, and it's super fun,
Yeah.
but
You
it's
That's
it's,
true.
I
feel
gotta
you.
kind of I can't get into it too much.
Yeah,
Like,
take a
I'll
step back.
dabble,
Yeah.
but I can't
Right.
dive real deep into it.
I feel that.
I think I think by episode 2 or 3, I was kind of like, my expectations are super low. I think I even told Shamoon, I'm going in here vigilant. I don't know what I'm gonna expect. I'm gonna just take it for face value and see where we go.
Right, that's what we were saying midway.
I had real low expectations, and honestly, dude, we gotta go on low expectations for everything because it just makes the experience just a bit better.
I think that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
After
doing
this,
for.
no more fan theories.
Yeah, no more fan theory. I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah,
Don't
let's
get
just
me
never
wrong.
make a theory again.
I'm
That's
not.
it.
I'm not
Yeah,
shaming
we'll
the
be
But
like
that
Ken.
feeling when you go into something with super high expectations and it delivers and exceeds those is such an incredible high.
Dude, that's something that
That was like Infinity War for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? Because after this, I'm like, okay, I was building this up too much, you know, especially after episode 8, because I loved episode 8. I'm like, this finale is going to be amazing. I'm going to love this, right? Did not love this, kind of hated it. Yep, didn't work for me. So, going in low, the only high I have for Falcon and the Winter Soldier is Zemo, because I thought he was brilliant in Civil War, and I do not want them to ruin him.
Yes.
So that's like the only thing that they have to deliver on. Other than that, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm just gonna, you know, keep it tame. Just just let them tell the story they want to tell, and hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's another Winter Soldier Civil War situation. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for that show.
I'm a
and
big
pretty much
Cap
everything
fan.
else from now on.
And I'm hyped for that series, but I feel UTV. I feel the same with that. Just really take it in, not as like get too hyped. Just really understand that. Yeah, it might feel like another self-contained thing like WandaVision, but it really is including that whole Cap's legacy. But it's through the lens of these two characters that are the main stars of the show. So yeah, it's gonna be.
And it's like
I'm gonna enjoy it.
Like that's worked for me. Like with WandaVision, I had no idea what to expect. Like this was the show that I was most excited for. Before WandaVision came out, and I had like kind of just like lost track of everything that was going on for like the first, because at the end of December, you know, the semester's over. I'm just like out of everything. I'm just taking time off. So when, you know, stuff started starting up again, I was like, okay, WandaVision's coming out. So I had no idea what to expect, and I went in and I was blown away because it was really good. So it's worked for me in the past. So I'm just gonna do that again. You know, maybe it'll deliver again.
There's no problem going in low expectations for anything, because when they exceed your expectations, it's a real good feeling. So I'm doing that moving forward. I think if anything, I think us fans kind of learn a lesson that, you know, just it's okay to go. Don't hype up a show so extreme. It's not.
Don't make it your life.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the point of WandaVision. Lower your expectations. You know.
Yeah.
That's the message.
Yeah.
Hidden message.
We know.
That's a hidden message.
We know you're going to be disappointed. We know.
It was also in a very unfair position, being the first Marvel thing to come back after like a year and a half. So everybody was
intended.
Well, yeah,
super
that's
excited
exactly
and
why.
It wasn't
pinning all
intended.
of these expectations.
It wasn't intended to be. It was supposed to come out last year.
Yeah,
but
exactly,
it got
but it
delayed.
was.
Well, this year.
Yeah.
I think we
The
talked
hype
about
only
that, but it
exceeded.
was-
You go ahead there, Ewan. Sorry.
No, we were like before the stream. Shamoon, you pulled up the Phase 4 thing, and WandaVision wasn't supposed to come out till now. Like it would have been starting probably when Falcon and Winter Soldier is starting. So it was supposed to be starting now. We would have had Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Eternal, Shang-Chi, all before WandaVision.
Right.
So then it got
So
pushed out to the front.
we would have had 3 films, a show, really built that hype for us. And we after Endgame and stuff, you wanted all that action, you wanted that juicy stuff, and then we would have got that probably with Black Widow, because I had a very Captain America type feel with that. But again, it might have been its own thing. And then now we would have been here. WandaVision would have finished up maybe near end of April, and then bang, we've got Doctor Strange coming out. That would have. I feel like the order as well, and the way this is this isn't the entry I think people were expecting at first.
Wait,
but,
so WandaVision was supposed to be this year, or was it rescheduled? It was rescheduled for.
WandaVision was supposed to be starting now.
Yeah, now
like this month.
So in March, April, spring 2021. It was when it was gonna.
And then we were supposed to get other series last year.
We were supposed to get Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
just
Falcon
Black Widow and Eternal.
Fall of 2020.
Actually, you know what happened?
And then Shang-Chi this year.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be like like you were saying, spring 2021. Then I think at the start of 2020, they put the Disney Plus thing out, and you found out that it had been pushed up to December 2020.
Yeah,
so it got a little change, and then obviously COVID happened, so they delayed it to January.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kind of what would have been, you know. Because I don't think like a Spider-Man 3 movie would have been part of that multiverse saga, because the Spider-Man 3 or No Way Home was originally supposed to come before or after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So
I still think it could have been multiverse stuff, but we don't even know there is multiverse. Like everyone's just assuming.
Well, it was hinted.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's get to these comments. We'll get to that, and then we'll get to
talking TVs there.
Yeah, we could talk about the 2 post-credit scenes and then comments. No, comments first, 2 post-credit scenes, and then we'll get to our final grades. 4K Corner, I was really hoping Guardians had introduced Nova. Yeah,
he was going to show up.
They kind of did. They kind of did.
Nova Corps. The Nova Corps.
Nova Corps there. Nova Corps there.
The biggest one they're missing is Adam Warlock. Where is he at?
He's still. He was introduced in Guardians 2.
Guardians 2, but his time to shine was Infinity War. It should have been Infinity War.
Right. But they were obviously changing it up because they.
Yeah.
I mean, if they just suddenly introduced him, that's like having
Captain
Marvel come in.
It's another Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Like
hello?
Pretty much.
Patrick says hello.
Hello there.
What's up?
I don't think that's gonna get old anytime soon. Talking TV, the guy Chris, number 1 on Mickey Mouse's hit list. Talking TV, yo guys, you guys are killing it. Also, WandaVision sucks.
Does he hate WandaVision?
He hates. Wanda.
He didn't like.
He didn't like
MCU.
He didn't like it.
Not the biggest MCU guy.
All right, I thought you enjoyed it.
He watches the CW instead. Yeah, he brought up a real hot take. That's like the hottest take I've ever heard. That CW.
I never heard anybody
what did he say.
He said, the CW shows are more compelling than WandaVision, and I will agree to him.
Big comparison.
Okay.
Superman and
Arrow
Lois
season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Arrow season 1 and 2, Flash season 1 and 2,
That's
Everything
true.
else, probably not.
I've heard
Legends.
Legends is fun. I enjoy Legends, but it's not compelling exactly. It's just bizarre.
I've heard great things about Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois is.
I heard good things too.
I would like to watch that.
I saw that.
I recommend.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. I think it's on Tuesdays or Mondays. I'm not sure.
Tuesdays,
but
right?
I think it's Wednesdays.
It's the
whatever. It's a CW, but this doesn't feel very much like a CW. It's like they're trying to. This is for me. This is what it's more cinematic experience. You want to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw
Stargirl was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but it's a CW, so
going to be CW. I think Stargirl was always going to be DC Universe, and then last minute it got put on CW as well as DC Universe.
Yeah, right. I think it had a higher production.
Yeah,
budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, if you were saying that the CW is more compelling because of Superman and Lois, bad news. It's on hiatus. Supergirl is back. So just just let you know.
Supergirl got canceled though.
It's ending after the season.
Yeah, it's ending
after the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's back. No Superman and Lois. Supergirl is back.
God, why are they gonna? Oh my God, it's like I don't know. Of course, stay tuned here in Basic Intent because I will have a review on that because I am watching that. Surprisingly, me. It must be my life. I think he's referring to superheroes and movies being his life. Having expectations. I refuse to agree to these terms. He's having a crisis here. LOL. I cannot. Chris cannot escape the MCU. No, he can't. MCU will follow him. The mouse follows him anywhere. The MCU is baiting TVU. He no matter how hard I try. Almost like a whole story going on in the comment section. I'm like the Vision in Third Act. I cannot get out. We got to talk about that. Did you watch Superman and Lois? Yeah, I'm on it right now. But that whole library scene, right? We're gonna get your thoughts because that was such a weird scene.
It's such a Vision scene.
Yeah, Ken. Let's go to Ken and we'll back to you. Ewan. Don't worry about it. Ken.
So what the library scene was the one with the end credit scene with Monica?
No, it's the 2 visions.
The ship of Theseus.
The ship of Theseus. The ship of Theseus.
Where they were talking off philosophy.
Did I miss the end credit scene?
No, it was like towards the beginning of the episode.
Okay, you're talking about when he touched his forehead and
then
then,
gave him his memories and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool scene, I guess. It was a little convenient to take down what was built up as to be such a threat, but I don't know. It's fine. I enjoyed that whole battle with the Visions. Like I said, it reminded me of the Man of Steel fight between Superman and Zod, and I really enjoy that movie. I love that movie, actually. So, yeah, it was kind of cheap the way they kind of got themselves out of the fight, but I don't know. It was what it was.
Yeah.
I think it just touched on the intellect of Vision rather than just like fight, because he is a very intellectual character, and I like the way they did do that. The whole ship of Theseus, I think that was really cool in the way they did that, and it's like that the Hex Vision just mind blown the real Vision. So I did like that. It was pretty interesting.
It says right here. Okay, back on CV. Thoughts on that scene?
That was fine. I think it's weird because by the end they reached the conclusion that neither are the real Vision, both are the real Vision. So according to that logic,
that looks so wrong. Sorry, that image, Matt.
According to their logic, I guess White Vision should now kill himself because he's also real Vision, and his program is to kill the Vision. I don't know. Okay, sure. I don't know why his program changes.
Yeah, his program just.
He's like, I'm gonna kill Wanda. Vision. I'm gonna kill Wanda. Nope, I'm gonna kill Vision. No, I don't know why that happens. Okay, but other than that was fine. Yeah, it's just really weird logic. But other than that, it's like a neat little reference, I guess. But that reference just really screws over his plan, so I don't get it. But yeah, it was neat. I guess it shows his intellect, so that's fine.
AJ.
I'm gonna be a little different on this one. I did not care for it. I thought that it was cheap. I just felt like it was kind of very, very convenient, and I wanted more from White Vision. I think that we all agree pretty much that the finale was a bit rushed, and I just think we needed more of White Vision. I think we needed more. Probably more action between those two. I don't know. That's just how I felt about it.
It was built up a lot, you know.
It was built up.
I made that. Me and Matt were like on a stream, and I made that theory early into WandaVision that we'll see White Vision, and then I was like, oh my god, he's actually here, and then like, yeah, you just barely see him.
Exactly.
Obviously, they leave that very open with where he goes. He just kind of goes into just leaves that library or whatever, and yeah, that's it. Like, where is he gone? Like, there's no explanation. But of course,
I mean, I would assume that he would now go help Wanda because he has his memories back. But
exactly, he was showing all the events.
I don't understand why he just leaves. So
and they never really
he's gonna come back.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he's gonna come back. We know that he's gonna come back. It's just
because Hex Vision says, "Oh, you'll see me," but I think it'll be a little bit different to Wanda. So obviously, referring to that Vision, because that Vision is the one that Wanda was with. So I'm curious how they do all of that, but that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Ewan?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the scene. Like, I didn't really understand it because it's just a Vision being, it's such a Vision scene of using intellect rather than fighting. And obviously, it's like the scene from the end of Age of Ultron where he's talking to Ultron about humans and their flaws and everything. So I really dug it. I thought it was a good scene, and I thought it was a better way to end that fight rather than them just going at it for 10 minutes or whatever.
Right. I would agree on that. It was very much like a Vision scene. It was kind of smart because they were talking all physiology and all that big word stuff. But it's I just kind of have a problem with that they brought up Vision, this White Vision, as like a Terminator, right? He has no remorse. He has no mercy.
You even had a Terminator reference with him walking out of the fire. That was very,
so he was talking for one thing and one thing only, to kill, terminate Vision and Wanda Maximoff. That was it. No, Wanda Maximoff, right? That was pretty much it. That was all.
So that's the thing, right? That's the thing I was referencing. Like, he's there to kill Wanda, but he just changes to Vision.
Change of heart, and he's a robot. AJ,
it feels like once again, it felt like a stepping stone to the future of Vision. It was really rushed, and it's like, okay, now we have Vision back in the MCU. He's not dead anymore. That's what it felt like.
Yeah,
and
it's like a Loki situation again.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just gonna keep bringing him back. I
think the
I
think the Loki situation was handled better, to be completely honest.
I mean, it was, but
Yeah.
I'm tired of Loki
Right.
coming back. I mean, I'm
I'll agree
looking
with-
forward to the Loki show. I think it was pretty good.
I think they're
but
going to go
I-
different
it
route
was
with that
sad.
Loki, though. I really feel like they're going to.
Yeah, but still, I just think give that screen time to an entirely different character. As much as I love
AJ's phasing.
Phasing out of here.
as much as I love
I think,
Tom Hiddleston as Loki,
I agree with you, Ewan.
it's a
Loki.
different
I mean,
character.
I want to see some
He's
new
a fan
characters.
favorite. That's why they kind of kept him.
I think
Yeah.
Loki's dealing with a lot of like multiple timeline type of things. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm excited for the show. But I'm
'Cause,
excited more for the show
yeah.
and what they could do, which is the same as I was with WandaVision, so hopefully that doesn't disappoint.
Yeah.
Because you have the TVA in there, which is like they're kind of like the time cops, and I
It's like
think you have
the
like
thing
shots.
from Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you see him like jumping out of the airplane. That's like I can't remember what his name was, but there's like this big mystery with this one guy who just kind of sort of disappeared.
Right.
And they found like the bills. I think they found like dollar bills on the ground. I can't remember the exact story, but that's a reference to something. So you're gonna see him, I think, like being responsible for like these historical phenomenon things. I guess like it sounds really
Like
cool.
Stonehenge.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's gonna be responsible for like these weird things. So that just looks, and there's like this shot right of him like sitting down. He's like talking to Owen Wilson, and you see like the shot of him from Thor Ragnarok. But that wouldn't have happened to this Loki, so that would mean he's looking at like an alternate reality or something. So it looks really cool.
I'm interested in the show, what it can do, right? But I'm just getting kind of played out. I'm getting burnt out from Vision, you want to say. Also, too, with that scene, I feel like there's no consequences. Oh, Vision is there's another Vision out there. Okay, cool. There's lack of consequences with that scene. But going in for Loki, yeah. We'll see what that does. Right.
At this point, Vision's died more times than anyone. He just keeps
No one-
playing.
No one is really dead in the MCU, and I think that's one of the biggest problems.
He's
Tony's
defied death.
dead.
It's that.
Yeah.
Vision's defied death.
Tony's dead and Black Widow's dead.
Tony's not dead. Tony's not dead. Tony's coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Secret Wars.
Only
Think so?
multiverse
Black Widow's
and
dead, but
people, I
she's
think,
like
is
still
going
got a
back.
movie coming out.
Right.
Right?
It's coming out last
Still
summer
yeah.
though. It was supposed to come out last summer, but
Yeah, that was the first film after Endgame. So I mean,
No one's ever really gone.
apart
Far
from
From Home.
Spider-Man. Apart from Spider-Man.
Right. I agree with you,
Baseball.
CB. And plus, too, money. Like I talked about for the Friday stream, I talked to TV. Money talks. What is Robert Downey Jr. doing after Endgame? Doolittle?
Doolittle.
That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. He's
that
that's
bomb,
not
didn't
gonna
it? That bomb.
So we'll see what they say.
Cast him
but
as
hopefully-
Batman.
Yeah,
Cast Robert Downey Jr. as Batman.
yeah. So it just, I don't know, man.
Henry Cavill was
I don't know.
Cap.
Man, I just want
I would
some
really F it up.
because it's gonna just ruin that whole emotional scene. It's gonna make it feel cheap. It's the common complaint. But we're gonna
That's
go
why
ahead. Yeah.
That's why I don't think they should bring back, like, sure, do something with the kids, but they should stay dead in some way, shape, or form. Because then her sacrifice makes no sense. So
Yeah.
They
But
did
it's-
come back though in the comics with the Young Avengers, so they're like reincarnated.
Yeah, I know, they come
I
back.
think they will do that, but then they'll come back and then Wanda will obviously realize, shit, this is my kids. But yeah, that's
The
going to
white
be
vision.
something.
They're gonna get white visioned.
Yeah. They're gonna get I don't know, Mentor from White Vision, something like that. Young Avengers. I don't know. We'll see what they do. But we gotta talk about these two post-credit scenes. We're gonna hit the highlight moment and final grades.
Yeah.
So the two
we really
post-credit
stretched
scenes.
that.
We got the Monica Rambeau scroll. It's still kind of like
don't care.
Secret Wars set
I
up.
don't really care.
Don't really
Yeah.
care.
Don't
Secret
care.
Invasion.
Don't care.
Secret
It's
Invasion.
basically, yeah.
I mean,
It
I
serves the
honestly
same
thought
purpose as the Far From Home post-credit scene. Like, it doesn't add anything.
I feel like the post-credit scene for Far From Home was kind of like realizing where Fury really was, because like
Right.
it seemed,
Yeah.
I think he was in the Sword base, but again, like with the post-credit scene in WandaVision, that was just kind of setting up that Monica's going to finally meet Nick Fury. So
That could have been.
Based-
I feel like that could have been in the series. It didn't have to be a post-credit scene.
right. I feel like they could have just showed Fury. Just I don't know, like just maybe just do that. Like, come on, just
It-
no. it's not like it's not a character we haven't seen before, you know, like
Right.
Yeah.
It's more trying to introduce Monica to becoming a sword agent. So yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah,
pretty much. And then so you guys all around, does the table says no?
No.
The table
I
says
wasn't
no.
feeling it.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak one. Yeah. All right. So second one, we get this beautiful shot. That shot was amazing with the mountains, beautiful. And then we get this, on the porch drinking some tea, some coffee, whatever. And then we get astrophysics. What is it called?
Astroform.
Scarlet Witch reading through the book. Learning some lessons.
So a funny thing, I didn't even realize there was a second one until this morning, and then right before I came on here,
you remember now to watch them
because I caught wind of it, of like Monica reading some books, and I'm like, where was that in the show? And then I was like, oh, there was another credit scene. Oh, okay, so I want to watch it. It's pretty cool.
Check it out. Yeah, man. What you guys thought? First of all, the Scarlet Witch outfit. It's great to see more of that, and it was pretty cool in that form. So, what's you guys' thoughts on that?
I think that's a shot from Multiverse of Madness. I think it's a lot of people have said that. Just the way it looks, the way it's shot, everything about it kind of.
Some people say Sam Raimi shot it.
Yeah, that's what people are thinking, and you look at like the color of it.
I can see that now.
It was a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Evil Dead, with the cabin.
It was a cabin in the woods.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
You know what's funny? He's
like the slow pan into the other room as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Funny you mentioned that, AJ, about Evil Dead, because one of the main characters from that, he's apparently going to appear in Doctor Strange or something.
Yep.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, because Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell and
Bruce
Sam
Campbell,
Raimi are buds.
Yeah, and he was in Spider-Man as well, so
Yep.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyone else got thoughts on that? I think it was a cool. Yeah, CV, go for it.
I hope this means Wanda's #1 on Doctor Strange's priority list.
Yeah,
because Doctor Strange, he's just been chillaxing this whole week. Not really paying attention to what's going on here. Because this means if she's dealing with the Darkhold, right? She's dealing with dark magic. Dark magic means she's probably drawing magic from the dark dimension. Dormammu, who has dealt with Doctor Strange. Yeah. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, what's up with Doctor Strange? What are you doing? Just like
I know he's just chilling this whole week.
What's up with
the whole 9 days?
What's up with Doctor Strange?
Not just this one.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's true.
Know what he's doing.
I don't know. So I don't know. It's a little confusing now, but maybe it'll make sense. I doubt it will, but maybe it will. So I'm just excited. I'm just excited for it.
Yeah.
Right. It's more of it was cool seeing, it was all right, but it's like I don't know how this directly ties into No Way Home, like they're talking about multiverse in that movie, and I'm kind of, if it's not multiverse, I'm actually kind of happy because I want an organic Spider-Man Tom Holland story.
I think it will be for the most part, and then we'll get multiverse stuff towards the end.
And that's actually I think.
If it's a post-credit scene, let's say, like, me and CV, we were saying this a while ago, right? I think when we were talking about the Spider-Man films and tier listing them, like, how at the end of the MCU Spider-Man films, they're showing you the biggest scenes where you'd love to see, like, instead of just at the end, right? Like, they aren't May stuff; they just cut that. With what if at the end of Spider-Man 3 they just tease Toby and Andrew?
I think they will,
and then they'll walk F thing, and then they cut it. That would just
exactly
more. Because you're just showing us that, but I guess in a way the film's not all about multiverse. But I think again it might be like the whole stepping stone thing. It might just tease it again.
And I'm actually kind of happy that's the case. I want Toby and Andrew just to be cameos at the end. I feel like they're taking away so much from Tom if they're in the movie. Majority of it.
Right.
He already has gotten a lot of taken away from him anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not giving up the Iron Man stuff.
Right. So the second post-credit scene, we'll see what that leads us to. But we're going to lead us now, part of the show, our highlight moment. So what's our highlight moment? Starting with Ken, down to Shamoon, hitting CV, back to AJ, and then ending it with Ewan, and then capping it off with me. Ken, highlight moment.
Do you want a highlight moment for the entire series or just this episode?
We could do both. series, and then we could do episode and then the entire series as a whole.
For the episode, I'll probably say the Vision fight, just when they first start fighting, right after they first get together. Also, the scene of when she finally transforms into Scarlet Witch up in the clouds. That was just visually, that was a really cool moment. And then as far as the whole series, it's probably the argument in the house between Vision and Wanda in episode 5, right before they like kind of levitate in the air in the living room. It was just a really cool moment in the show. Just visually, it looked really cool. So probably those two.
Shamoon.
I'd say highlight moment is, I think that was the one moment from the finale that I love the most. Just the fact she finally was the Scarlet Witch and realizing that, and yeah, the whole costume change. I think that was definitely my highlight moment from this. It was just amazing, and the way they did it was really cool. And yeah, it just looked pretty badass. But it's difficult to say for the entire series. I'm still not decided what my main highlight is. I feel like the episode when we kind of Agatha showed a bit of the backstory to Wanda. I feel like that is a big highlight moment from the series because again, we didn't get a lot of background on Wanda. It's very one-dimensional, and finally we saw that scene that Pietro described about the whole what did they read on that missile, Stark, and we finally saw that, and I think that was a very big moment because it really calls back to Age of Ultron, and also it kind of gives more purpose to that film. Although I think it was a good film, but yeah, I think that was definitely that's probably the highlight moment for that as a series from what I think of now. But yeah,
CV.
So I would say from this episode, I did like the costume reveal, like just that reveal by itself out of the context, the entire episode. I would say that was a really cool moment. I still think I would go with just for the episode, the moment, her goodbye to Vision. I would say that was probably the one thing in the episode that was somewhat reminiscent of what the show had been like previously. Because the entire episode I just felt like was really out of place, but that scene felt kind of similar, and I thought it was a nice moment. Entire series, I have to say either the moment where Pietro shows up in episode 5, either that one, because that one was insane at the time. That was at the time that was pretty cool, so I would say either that or last episode when she's with the Mind Stone and you see like the reflection, like the silhouette of her future self. I would say that was pretty neat. So one of those two, probably the silhouette one, because knowing what happens in the finale, the Pietro thing is kind of rendered useless, but the silhouette thing is still pretty cool. So I might go with that one.
AJ.
Certain stole mine. It was the silhouette one. That was for overall. I loved that scene. I loved that episode as a whole. Like pretty much everything, every aspect of that episode, I loved.
Perfect.
But it was a 10 out of 10 episode for me. But yeah, the whole when she like kind of realizes that she is going to become the Scarlet Witch. She sees it kind of in a vision, and that whole silhouette. That scene was amazing to me. And then in the finale episode, when she becomes Scarlet Witch is like one of them. And also there was this scene, I don't know, it was really quick. Like if you blinked, you would have missed it. But where she's fighting Agatha and she like vanishes, and then she kind of I thought that was really cool. I was like, when I saw it, I was kind of taken aback because honestly, we don't know like the full extent of her powers. We just know that she has magic, but we don't know like exactly everything she can do, which is kind of cool because she can, pretty much do anything, and we're like, oh, cool, So I guess those were my two for the finale.
Ewan?
Yeah, so for the finale, I probably have to go with the Scarlet Witch costume reveal. There's that, and I did enjoy the ship of Theseus scene as well. And then for the whole series, loads of the moments for episode 8 I really liked. The discussion about grief, and that quote from Vision about what is grief if not love persevering. That was a really good scene. And then also the scene where she actually goes to the sword and sees Vision's body, and then kind of says like, "I can't feel you," which is a callback to Infinity War, where I think he says, "I can feel you." So basically all the stuff in episode 8 was probably the best of the entire show.
I'm gonna have to agree with Ewan. That part was the best for the series. I think I really did like when she was a kid, Mama, Papa, and then you seen the briefcase and this all the sitcoms we've seen. It made more sense, and it was kind of heartbreaking for them to be in that situation as kids. Also, too, it's for this episode, it is a Scarlet Witch reveal, and also too,
Boner.
Boner reveal is pretty epic in MCU. I would say the most for that. So final grades, guys. We're gonna go in final grades. So we're gonna do episode and then series as a whole. Of course, F with F to A with minuses and plus. Of course, I will have your final grades up on the board. Once you're done saying, I'll get the animation up. So don't feel like being cut off because you won't. You're going to see some cool stuff. Starting with Ken. Ken, what's your final grades for this episode and then series?
When I first watched it, I kind of liked it. And then I know I'm going to have to talk about something. I don't like to go on read a bunch of people's reviews and watch a bunch of people's reviews and see all their thoughts. But just being here today and just kind of poking out the flaws with you guys, it was a B plus going in, and I'll probably scale it back to a B minus for right now. B minus for the episode.
Okay. So B minus Ken. Wait, hold on. Let me get this animation. I think you're gonna like this. B minus Ken, episode 9. Episode 9. B minus.
That B kind of looked like it had a waiting for the cue. Yeah, you're right. Play the Evan Peters clip again. But yeah, for the show, I'll give a B plus. B plus.
B plus. B plus is for Ken for the entire series.
That's my scores.
Pretty positive. Not gonna.
Yeah, I like the show. I rated it. I reviewed it on my Instagram earlier today. I gave it an 8.5. So I enjoyed the show overall. I think it's a good show.
That's a good thing. I'm loving that you liked the show. I'm kind of jealous. Shamoon.
Okay, interesting. So finale, I kind of feel similar with Ken. Obviously, it goes straight off the bat from the end of episode 8. And I was feeling a bit more. I was thinking like this could end up being an A, but with the way it kind of was a little bit messy. There's some good moments though. I thought the finale was a B plus. But I kind of want to change my grade. I just want to see what the other animations are. Not gonna lie. Actually, we'll go with a B because I actually genuinely want to see this. I want to genuinely see this, and I have been overly critical on some things, but I mean the series as a whole. I mean the finale B, but the series as a whole. I'm gonna probably go with a B plus as well. I think there were a lot of. I've been been pretty. I remember after episode 3, things got really. They started to go in the right direction. And I feel that, we were really getting somewhere. And then there was that one episode I was like, what the hell was this? I think it was episode 7. And then episode 8 was like good. And then the finale had its moments, wasn't the best. But there were a lot of good moments within this series. And I think the most important thing was, if you think about just generally what done with Wanda's character and to go into the depth, that is really good. That's the main purpose of the show. And I understand that. And I feel like my expectations and the high I had were kind of the reason why it kind of ruined certain experiences for me from the show. So I'm probably going to go with the B plus as well.
So B for the episode? For B for the episode?
Yeah, B for the episode and for the whole B plus. Cool.
CV. Here we go.
Going in.
F minus.
Yes.
I don't have that. I don't have that.
Nah, just a new one.
Okay, so going in. So I'll start with the episode. Coming out of the episode, I liked it. Then yesterday, I talked about it a lot, and turns out I don't like it that much anymore. Talking about it again, I like it even less. So I will probably go. What are we considering average? A C or a C minus? What's the
C
average?
minus.
F.
D
I'd
plus.
say C is average.
C is
C is
average.
average.
C is definitely.
For the episode.
Yeah. So episode, I'll go because I'm factoring entertainment as well. So I'll go maybe C minus for the episode.
Series.
And then show as a whole, I would probably go because I loved
go low.
1 through 3. I did love 1, 2, 3. I did like 4, not as much though. 5 I really enjoyed. 6 was good. 7 was not that good. 8 was amazing. And then 9 was terrible. So I would probably go.
Wow.
I love this.
I don't know. See, I have to think. I like to think of it numbers wise, but I kind of forgot how to do letter stuff. I'll go with a C plus B minus for.
Oh, that's
the show.
pretty good for C.
C plus.
I'll
B
go C
minus.
plus. I'll go C plus.
AJ.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. This series, it did disappoint me in some ways. In other ways, I really did enjoy it. As a whole, I would say, well, I guess I'll give my finale episode score.
Yeah.
I would say C minus for the finale.
Now serious.
Okay, and then for the series, I would say B minus.
B minus.
Mainly because it did have a lot of pros and like the character development for maybe not character development, but like just her origin, Scarlet Witch's origin. I really appreciate it. So there you go.
Ewan from Mchat.
Yeah, so for the episode, I would say about a C. And then for the series as a whole, when I did my review, I give it like a B, but I've stopped doing like minus and plus. So a low B, I'll go with B minus.
Okay, overall pretty positive. It is around that B minus and C plus category for me. Episode as a whole for this episode, C plus. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was in my review, I had a B minus, but talking about it, it went down just a bit, and I feel like this show, it's not a horrible show. I did enjoy episode 5. I did enjoy episode 6. Episode 8 was amazing. Episode 1 and 4 were kind of mediocre. Episode 7 was horrible, and then episode 9 was mediocre, right? I think this show does a job, and that's establishing Wanda, and I think that's what we need to get from the side character adventures of Disney Plus. Hopefully, we can get that with Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? Really establish these characters as our main guys to go forward in the MCU, and I think this show does a good job of that. It doesn't do anything interesting more than that. It's just a service level show. This show has a real structural problem. Maybe less episodes, maybe just a mini movie. We kind of talked about that. And the introduction of the show should have been different. Episode 8 probably should have been episode 2 or 1, just to keep the intrigue more there. And like I said, you play around with that mystery box, you got to come out with that satisfying answer, and it just didn't. Mystery box story system just doesn't work. in my opinion. Overall, as a show, I'm gonna go a C+.
Oh,
C+ for the show overall. So that's gonna be our show. Not gonna forget to give our plugins for our crazy cast here today, starting with Ken. Ken, where they can find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Mid-Level Movie Reviews and Mid-Level Media, and also on YouTube at Mid-Level Media, where I talk about physical media, Blu-rays, 4Ks, all kinds of stuff physical media related like crazy. This week, I've got a physical media report that dropped today where I go over all the latest releases that are coming out this week. I'm going to be in stores tomorrow, Blu-ray hunting, and I've actually got AJ reacts on my channel tomorrow. We're just going to do a Q&A together, so that should be super fun as well.
That sounds awesome. AJ, you got a something with Q&A? That's awesome, man.
I do, yeah, with
also
Ken,
got-
mid-level Ken.
What's that in the background? What do your channel brings?
Yo, yeah. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for having me on. It is always a pleasure coming on, talking to you guys about whatever we're talking about. It's a lot of fun. Yes, I'm AJ from AJ Reacts too, and I react to all these things here: movies, TV, music, gaming, and more. And I don't really have a whole lot planned. I have some things up my sleeve that I'm planning on doing, but not anything that's scheduled out. So just stay tuned, and yeah.
Ewan from Mchat.
Yes, you can find me over at Mchat on YouTube, Letterboxd, Twitter, Instagram. Twitch is Mplay. I have not done a stream in like a month, but I really need to jump back on that and do some more stuff. This week, I've got the 100 Movies Project returning, which I haven't done since Halloween. I'm currently editing that video now. Captain America Winter Soldier review, I think, is also going to be this week. We've got Cherry coming out late this week too. Aside from that, I've got tons of reviews planned for next few weeks and everything. So yeah, make sure you go subscribe for all that content.
Cannot wait to see that Winter Soldier review. One of my favorite movies of all time.
One of my favorites as well. I love it.
God. CV.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Not just this time, but throughout WandaVision. This was fun. Sadly, the show wasn't as fun. But you can find me on YouTube at CertainVids. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. That's usually where I'm at. That's also at CertainVids. And yes, thank you for having me on. I have nothing coming out this week, I don't think. But short film number 2 will be filming. We'll start filming soon, so keep an eye out for updates on that. But other than that, yes, thank you for having me on.
I'm already starting the theories and rumors for the continuation of the CVU, as I'm calling it. Pretty excited for that.
Good name.
Shamoon Reacts, man. Shout out to Shamoon, first of all, for being my co-host throughout this entire series. Of course, we're continuing our partnership with more Marvel stuff, content, and of course, the channel as a whole. Shamoon, where they can find you, man.
So of course, it's been a blast, man, doing this whole being a co-host on the spoiler talk. It's also great to interact with all of you. Been really fun to talk about this on a weekly basis, talk theories, everything, and I love the differences in all our viewpoints. But yeah, you can find me at Shamoon Reacts on YouTube, on my Instagram, and I do a lot of reactions to movies, TV, gaming. I have been pretty inactive though, but I'm going to definitely be more involved. And you can also find me on my other YouTube channel, Cobra Kai Nation, if you are interested in Cobra Kai and you really like the show and you're a big fan as a whole. So yeah, but yeah, thanks again for having me on, and I can't wait to do more of this kind of Marvel spoiler talk in the future. And great to see all you guys as well.
Of course, man. Shout out to everyone who has joined this WandaVision spoiler talk. It's been a blast. Of course, you guys can follow me. If you're a first timer here in Basic Entertainment, come on, join on as I do, as everyone else is doing, movie reviews, reactions, and stuff with a little taste of fun and entertainment and passion sprinkled in there. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Shout out to these guys. We are out of here. Deuces. Stay positive.
Stay positive.